Hello, hello, my knowledge-thirsty beauties, and welcome to another episode of DP2daBrain. I am DP, and today we have one of the most special guests we've had in this show's history, the man who may or may not have wrote a certain book, Mr. J.J. Johnson. Thank you for being on, my man.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Probably the oldest guest you've had so far.
So far. I haven't been able to, no one's been able to get me contact information for Dr. Arthur White, but I'm trying.
Oh, that would be cool.
Trying to track him down. And I'm also talking to the Chip Dog. I think he's a year or two older than you.
He's 1 year ahead of me. Yep. Chip's a great guy. And Sparky's a year behind me. So
very nice, very nice. So one of the most interesting things that I want to talk about is you are a successful small business owner. You want to give us a rundown of your businesses?
Well, basically, I worked in radio for 22 years, rock radio in Dallas at 97.1 The Eagle. And I ran a station here in Abilene, Texas for about 13 years. And then my kids started getting older, teenagers, being a rock jock, you be a little edgy. Well, when you have a 13-year-old daughter that says, my friends are telling me you're talking about nipples on the radio. Yeah, that's a tough dinner conversation, pal. So I was like, man, maybe it's time for me to get off the air. And so I got off the air to start selling radio advertising, which was okay, but it just was not me. I did not dig going door to door, getting no's and no's and no's, even though I believed in the product at the time. Now, celestial radio now, is probably pretty much going out the door with everything else with technology. But so I decided, man, I got to do something for myself. And of course, my wife, who's a CPA, was like, Johnny, what are you going to do? You were a DJ for 20 years. What are you going to do for yourself? I was like, well, I think I'm going to open a liquor store in the Bible Belt of Texas. I'm going to call it Big Dick Liquor. And she said, no, you're not. And I said, all right, well, what about Big Johnson Liquor? And she laughed and told me, yeah, okay, do a business plan for that. So the next day I went to sell advertising. I actually went to 7 different liquor stores. And when I walked in the door to sell them advertising, I said, hey, man, I'm not ego enough to sit here and tell you, or I'm not arrogant enough to sit here and tell you how to sell your business, man. Tell me about this. How much inventory do you got to carry? What's that cooler cost? How much is your rent? How much is a liquor license? What's your payroll?
You scouted. You did a lot
of scouting. Let me show you. Yeah. Let me show you how to make some of that money back through advertising. Of course, nobody wanted to advertise, but they loved talking about themselves. And I wrote down all that information. After going to 7 different ones, I went to the Texas Tech Small Business Development Center, which is downtown here in Abilene, Texas. They'll do a free business plan for you. You just bring them the information. Okay. And they have a lot more resources than I would have or be able to afford at that time with research and numbers and traffic counts and all that kind of stuff. They have that info. They put it together. I went to one bank, got a loan 2 years ago. That the loan's been paid off. It'll be 10 years. Our business is successful here in Abilene, Texas. We boycotted Russian vodka when Russia invaded Crimea. My son was in the military. And so I took all my Stoli. Oh, no problem. I took all my Stoli out of the store, sent out a press release to all the TV stations, and poured out my Stoli in the parking lot. I got on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all the nightly news stations. They wrote about it in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and that's all free advertising. Okay, so now you come to Abilene and you're staying in a hotel and you Google liquor store Abilene. I'm the first thing that pops up. I'm the only liquor store that delivers. I'll bring it right to your hotel room. So you do what the other guy can't do or won't do. Okay, they all are allowed to if they buy this license, but in a town with 180 some thousand people, it doesn't pay to deliver homes to homes. But I have a contract through a local company, which actually. The guy worked for me in radio back in the day, and now he has his own little delivery service. And Menu Hoppers is the name of the company, and they come and get my liquor and take it to homes. He charges me a dollar amount for the delivery. I charge that same amount to my customer. It's like having a drive-through when I don't have a drive-through. And
when did you start doing deliveries?
I started doing deliveries about 4 years ago, believe it or not. So when COVID hit, I was already set up and running. And it exploded. I went from doing 7 or 8 deliveries a week to 10 a day. And, just last week we did 39. Okay. And everything's open here in Texas. So what was really scary was in 2019, we had the best year we ever had. And then COVID hit. And I thought, oh man, I'm going to crash and burn. This sucks. They closed all the restaurants and bars. I sell to restaurants and bars. That's like 15, 20 grand out the door, out the back door every week. I'm going, oh my God. Well, when they closed all those down, all those customers came to the store. They're still going to drink. My retail went up 74%. I had the best year I ever had in 2020. 2021 has started out 22% better than that. So we're doing really, really super good. I'm hoping to maybe sell this sucker and make about 10 times my initial investment, just because the first 3 years I didn't make a paycheck. My wife's a CPA. She was making great money. My kids had just graduated and went on to, chef school and the Air Force. And so it worked out really good for us. My son now will be a pilot in the Air Force. He'll be going to Air Force training in Florida here at the end of this month. So he started out enlisted, got his degree and got commissioned, and he's ready to go. It's pretty neat. So I have adult kids that still like me, so I think I did okay.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
tough to do. And also, if you're going to do a business with your wife, the most important thing I could really honestly say is you better be really close to her before you do that. Because, man, we could have got divorced about 4 times that first year. It's just stressful. It really is. And now it's one of the best things we ever did. And it's worked out great. We're on our way out the door now. If I can get rid of sell the thing the way I want to, with it making a whole bunch of money, it's a very appealing thing. So I'm sure I'll be able to really quick and be able to retire and then go on the road and do some more comedy.
Yes. Well, I mean, you touched on a lot of things that I kind of want to talk about. So I guess we'll just kind of hit them one at a time. You were talking about the marketing at first, and I got to give you props as a little bit of a marketing guru, if you will, especially in the ways of the 20th century technology, if you will, radio, television, all that stuff. How have you tried to adapt into, as you mentioned, 21st century technology marketing? How do you think your marketing style is more compatible with, I don't know, what's your take on how you have had to evolve with technology?
Well, the first thing you need to know is what your business is and how your business is affected by advertising. I'm a liquor store, man. People are going to find a liquor store. They're going to look in the phone book, which nobody has anymore. They're going to Google liquor store, Abilene, bang. I'm the first one that pops up for that. Okay. To do that, you just got to get a lot of stuff. Luckily, I worked in the media for 20 years, so I had a little bit of insight on how to do some things that maybe the normal business owner wouldn't do. For example, the first 3 years of my store being open, I didn't advertise on the radio. I didn't advertise on TV. I did one little of those little free newspapers that you get outside the drugstore when you leave. And because that cost me very, very minimal. But what I did do was I did T-shirts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson Liquor and Beer. We know how to liquor. Okay. My biggest competition in town is a corporate company. You always want to take from the biggest piece of pie. You don't want the same guy as you. You guys are battling for the same buck. Don't mess with him. Don't mess with him. He won't mess with you. Okay. Go after that big piece of pie. I went after the corporate company, the little chain. They're called Pinkies. So I came up, my very first slogan, my very first commercial, my very first banner on Facebook said, "Don't mess with a pinky when you have a big Johnson."
I knew where it was going.
It flew. It was one of the great. And first, when I came up with it, my wife's like, "You can't do that. We're in the Bible Belt." I'm like, "I'm putting it everywhere. Everybody knows it. They might not say it right, but they know what I'm talking about." And it's really funny to be able to bust on the big guy. Okay. Without and another thing I had was very fortunate is I was a PA announcer for every professional sports team this town has ever had since 1994. It was the Abilene Prairie Dog baseball team, the Abilene Aviator hockey team, and we had the Abilene Rough Rider football team, which our debut season, we had Quincy Carter as our quarterback.
And Abilene Christian just had a little bit of a run in the
Motion Madness. No kidding, boy. That was pretty exciting for the whole town of Abilene, putting us on the map a little bit. A lot of NFL players have come from Abilene Christian. Taylor Gabriel played for the Cleveland Browns for a little bit, played in the Super Bowl with the Atlanta Falcons. He was from Abilene Christian. But Abilene's a pretty cool little place. You know, the youngest rookie or the first rookie to win Game 7 of a World Series, John Lackey from Abilene, Texas. The backup quarterback to the Cleveland Browns is Case Keenum, Abilene, Texas. There's a lot out there. It's pretty cool. Charles Cootie, as a matter of fact, this is Masters weekend as we speak. And Charles Cootie won the Masters. He's from Abilene, Texas, 50 years ago this year. So it's pretty neat living in this little town, coming from the Rust Belt, if you will, Youngstown, Ohio, Sharon, Pennsylvania, where I grew up.
Gerard, I'm in Gerard right now.
Okay, I was born at St. E's Hospital in Youngstown, Ohio.
Yeah, right in the same area.
So all my family still lives in the Canton, Akron area. A few in Youngstown. Sisters live in Hermitage. My brother-in-law's a cop there in Hermitage.
Sure,
So
yeah.
it's one lives in Newcastle. So yeah, I mean, coming from up there and then coming down here to Texas, really weird to me because, I got here, I was 23 years old, didn't think I was going to stay. And here I am, 50,
Yeah.
55, and I'm still here in Abilene. And I made a little mark for myself here and became the first PA announcer in history to be thrown out of a professional baseball game by thanking the sponsor of Sunglasses Night at the ballpark, which happened to be Lens Crafters after a bad call on the field. I thanked Lens Crafters for sponsoring Sunglasses Night at the ballpark, and the umpires didn't like that and threw me out. Hit the AP wire. In fact, there's a chapter of a book. The book's called The Wildest Texas Sports Stories You've Never Heard. There's a chapter on me in that about getting thrown out of a professional baseball game. So, little things like that along the way, you realize I became a newsmaker with doing stupid stuff on the radio and stuff like that. So when I became a business owner, all those media people knew me and they wanted to talk about a news story. Hey, how do you combat counterfeit money? Yeah, sure. Come talk to me. So they come talk to me, and underneath the screen, Johnny Johnson, Big Johnson Liquor and Beer, free marketing. I didn't pay a dime for that. The time that we got on TV for pouring out the vodka, they did a follow-up story on Friday. My liquor store does some promotional things that nobody else does. The big company does tax included Tuesday. That's 8.25%. I do 10% Tuesday because they have a little one. Okay. Little things like that you do back and forth. I do
free shot Friday. I got to ask about free shot Friday.
Yeah, free shot Friday. We sample something every Friday. Most people do a tasting at their liquor store. Like I said, all liquor stores are about the same. It's all the same money. It's all about the same cost of stuff. We all have about the same things in the store. It's how you present it, how you treat people. They'll do their tasting from 4 to 6. I'll do my tasting free shot Friday, open to close. Come on in. I'll give you a shot at 10 in the morning if you want one. It's pretty cool. And you also put new things in people's mouths that they wouldn't necessarily buy. But, that next weekend I catch them coming in. Hey, we tried something last week that was really good. What was that? Oh, it's that over there. Boom, they buy it. They would have never bought that if we didn't do free shot Friday.
Yeah, sure.
So it helps out.
The Big Johnson in their mouth, they can't stop.
They can't stop, man. I'm telling you, it's just the way it is,
Touching on that a little bit, if I could.
Sure.
You'd have to say your marketing, you're not afraid to get a little out there, for lack of better wording. And I think it's refreshing. It's real. You talk about the big chains. Nobody feels like those are people, but everybody knows JJ. Everyone knows Big John. There's personality too.
And I'll be honest, man, I worked in radio for 20 years and more people know me from Big Johnson Liquor than ever knew me from radio, which blows my mind. Now, it had something to do with that first 3 years I was telling you about when I didn't advertise. And the only advertising I did was with my local TV station, one commercial a year, the Super Bowl. You got to save your money up. It cost me that first year, cost me $3,500. And for a store that wasn't doing that in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, that was a lot of money, but I put it out there. And when I did my own writing. I've been writing commercials since I was 17 years old at Teal College, working at WTGP is what it was back in the day. I don't even know what it's called now.
It's WXTC now.
And so I was on 88.1 learning how to do that because I had a part-time job at WWIZ there in West Middlesex. I got the job. I started doing commercial production because it was an automated station. So I learned how to do some things, and I learned about commercials, and I learned how to write commercials. So getting to do that first before you're actually on the air, being a radio personality, was really valuable because most people work on their stick and then they get on the air and then they're like, okay, write this commercial. And then they look at it like, thank God I had a little bit of help with that in my classes at Teal and helped me along the way.
Yeah, I mean, those little pieces of information have stuck in my head that I learned that, whether it's when you're writing, you want to try to convey your meaning in as few words as possible.
That's right. And that's how I did it in radio. If I'm talking longer than 8 seconds between songs or I'm talking too long. Nobody wants to hear me talk. They want to hear AC/DC, bro.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you have a co-host or was this solo?
I actually had, I did have a sidekick that came in to do weather for me twice during my show. And he was the oldest rock and roll weatherman in the world. He was 89 years old at the time. We even
Oh,
actually
wow.
got him on David Letterman as the oldest rock and roll weatherman in the world, and his name was Stubby Baldwin. Which, okay, you see what we're going with that. Stubby Baldwin was great, man. He was rocking on Rock 108. That boy was he was a neat guy. In fact, really the first person close to me that died, because my grandmother, she got Alzheimer's and was alive. She wasn't really there still, but she was alive. And all my grandfathers died before I was born. So I didn't have anybody close to me in my life that died until Stubby Baldwin, John Turner was his real name,
Mhm.
died. And I got to be there and witness the love he had between him and his wife. And I thought, wow, I want that someday. Actually got that and was pretty lucky. Got married the same age as Stubby got. So I'm on track for Stubby's 50 years. But yeah, no, having a sidekick was kind of cool, but most of the time, and especially when I was in Dallas, it was all by myself. It was my show, other than when I threw it to traffic,
Mhm.
or the news. But yeah, no, I worked at 97.1 The Eagle in Dallas, FGL, Fort Worth, Dallas.
What was your DJ name?
Dave Andrews was my DJ name.
Oh, okay.
I actually, story behind that was, when I was at Teal, I was dating a Coyote. We got pregnant, but the baby died 45 minutes after it was born. We named him David Andrew. And that's why ever since that day, I went by Dave Andrews on the radio.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. No,
Yeah,
I
that
did
Coyote
too.
went her way the year later. I
Yeah.
went my way the year after. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's how it is.
that's how
Now,
Coyotes are.
yeah, I did too. My brother's married to a Coyote from
Oh,
UC.
see, a lot of SIG-EPs do that. No, is he
Yeah,
a
and
SIG-EP?
well, funny, I'm about to mention him because he had quite the interesting wedding day, and I'll give you the quick rundown of events. At 11 a.m., he graduates from Fort Benning Military Academy in 94-degree heat.
Ooh,
Um, at 2 p.m., we are huddled in the lobby of the hotel because there's a hurricane outside. At 3 o'clock, he is married, and by 7 o'clock, he and his new wife are on the plane to his base in Hawaii. That was his wedding day.
man. Well, it's memorable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. Well, and because the reason was that she had to be a spouse to travel with him.
Yep. Yep.
So but then so he served his 3 years. Of course, very thankful for that. And then now he's in National Guard. They're back here, stateside now, which it was very hard because of the big time difference. So like they would get off work and
Oh,
all
yeah.
their friends would already be asleep. And
Yep.
but my mom would always enjoy going out and visiting them, of course.
Oh, I bet she did. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
Um, so talking a little bit about small businesses, maybe compared to kind of your larger chain, when you're looking at hiring an employee, do you think that you take different things into account, or are you generally looking at the same kinds of qualities?
That's a good question. And it depends on what kind of employee you're hiring. I mean, right now I have a whole staff full of part-time employees. I don't have I'm the only full-time employee of my small business.
Hmm.
Um, but when what I try to do is hire the best person I can hire. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And the reason why is, yeah, I realize that this person's probably going to get hired by somebody else along the way, but you don't want to hire people that don't want to get hired by somebody else. Okay. They're going to be a bad employee. Um, the one thing I look for the most is who's going to be honest with me and who's not going to steal from me. I mean,
Yeah.
if we can get over anything else. And a lot of it, you have to be flexible. I mean, it's so much different now than when I was a young man getting the job. I'd apply for a job and get the job, and it was, when do I need to be here? And you need to be here at this time. And
Hmm.
nowadays, 90% of the time I hire a person, they're like, okay, thanks for hiring me, and here are the days I could work. I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
different time. It's really a different time. So you got to be flexible. I understand that it's a part-time job for some of these people that have other jobs. Now, right now, I'm fortunate enough to have a full staff of people that are only job is my job, but they're going to school or they work
Hmm.
part-time at another bar. They don't have a full-time job. They have two part-time jobs.
Yeah.
One's going to school to be a paramedic. One worked at a liquor store, just needs a job on the side just because she's a
Sure.
mother of four. So it's pretty, you have to be flexible. You have to understand that you're going to go through a lot of employees before you find a good one. I mean, you could find a bunch of number twos. It's really hard to find a number one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what do you once you find your number ones, how Like, what do you do to keep them happy and keep them around?
Well, I try to treat them like family. I mean, that's the thing I do. If they need to be off for their kid's soccer game or what, if it's something to do with family, they don't have to worry about getting off. They're going to be off, even if I have to go up there and cover their shift. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to be flexible with people like that. Take care of the ones that take care of you, for one. And you got to pay them competitively, and sometimes that's tough to do. That's why you got to build your way up. I went them 3 years. I didn't make a paycheck. Okay, I sunk all that money back into the store and built my inventory.
If someone is starting a new business, what would be 3 specific pieces of advice you would give them?
The first thing I would say is always, always treat your customers right. Do them right one way or the other. Because if you care that much more than the other guy, it looks that much more. Okay. Um, don't try to live off your business for the first 3 years. Have a plan to be able to cover your living expenses and all that. People that try to think they're going to be rich from the first day, they're not. It's a lot of hard work. It took me 10 years to get to be able to sell my business for 10 times its original investment. Okay. 10 years of hard work. You don't open a business and sell it the same day and make that money. You got to put some blood, sweat, and tears into it, and a lot of stress.
Yeah,
As you
sure.
can tell. Okay. I used to have hair. Yeah. No, just kidding.
And then what might be a third piece of advice?
The third piece of advice I would say is, when you think it's really bad, it's not as bad as you think it is. You can always come out of it. Because that first couple of years, it gets scary, man. You start
What's
rolling pennies in the house thinking, man, we got to fill the bank account.
What was the worst it got, if you would?
The worst it got, I would probably say on my second year anniversary, I had a advertising salesman come into the store and want to show me his gun, and he shot himself. And into the story, he shot himself in the hand. So that to me,
okay.
he was totally fine. I took the gun off him, threw it in the safe, called the police. Yeah, he lived. He was just a dork.
That sounded a bit worse when you first
but
said it.
It caused me great stress and a huge fine from the Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission.
How's that your fault?
Exactly. That's what I thought. I could have fought it, but it would have cost me about $2,000 more than the fine to fight it. So I just paid the fine. So you're going to get stuck.
There have been a fine if it was on Free Shot Friday?
It was a fine because they called it a breach of peace, which, for the record, I have 3 cameras where that guy was standing aimed at that position and a microphone right above his head. You could hear me say, "Don't show me your gun, dude. I know what a gun looks like."
Right.
And he was talking and it went off in his hand. So yeah, total idiot. He got charged. I mean, I didn't get charged with any crimes or anything. He's the one that did. I just got to pay, it was the state an opportunity to get $6,000 out of me. Or I closed for 25 days. I'm like, well, come on, man. I mean,
how do you, I know, you only know of Abilene, but how friendly is Abilene to the small businessman, in your opinion?
My hometown, I think, is it depends on the business. There is definitely a little click here. You got to come from the right bloodline to, and it's cliquish. I'm in the area of businesses where there's a lot of us that are just like this, where we're ourselves. I'm not going to go kiss your butt at every charity event and go to your church because I want to be seen because I own a business. I'm going to do what I want to do, where I want to do it, with the people I want to do it.
You're going to say what you want to say because it's goddamn funny.
Well, I mean, like I said, being a comedian is dangerous stuff. Okay, especially when you own a business, because I could say the wrong thing on stage and that could go viral. And
we'll get into the comedy in a little bit, but I want to stay in the business for just.
I don't want to lose my business because I made a bad post on Facebook or I believe that you're just different than this other guy, political. Yeah. So you got to watch. You really do.
When did you know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Very early in your life?
No, man. This just actually kind of happened when I didn't want to do sales anymore in radio, and tried to think of a business that no matter who was president would be okay because someone's going to drink. It doesn't matter what side's president. Okay. Tried to look into the most recession-proof business. And to be quite honest, I was being funny because I remember reading about a liquor store that was here in the 90s for about 6 months before it went out of business, and it was called Beaver Liquor. And I thought, well, my name's Johnson. How about Big Johnson Liquor? That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah,
And
very funny.
so, I mean, I kind of came up with it through a joke and then looked into it and went, damn, this might not be a bad idea. And, life happened, man. You're raising kids. You're not thinking about starting your own business. You're thinking about, damn, I got to buy shoes for his damn baseball season coming up. Or,
and then next season you got to buy another shoes.
Yeah. And then this kid over here, I got to buy a flute for that's freaking more than my used car that I have in the driveway because she has to be able to go to play in band competitions. Yeah. So, life happens. So I didn't know or think about being an entrepreneur. My wife's working 70 hours a week as a CPA. I kind of gave it up to her. She was married before. I met her kids when they were like 7 and 8. And when she got her degree after she, a non-traditional way, went and studied for the CPA, passed the CPA the first time. This is with her before I met her. So when I met her, she was already a CPA. Her husband was military, so they were bouncing around. She wasn't able to really keep a career in one spot. Yeah. So when we got together, I told her, hey, you go run with it, go make partner somewhere, and I'll raise the kids. So that's kind of what we did. I stayed in radio. Believe me, there's 17 good jobs in the country in radio. Okay. Where you can actually feed your kids. Okay. The other ones, you're there because you want to be there. It's like being a teacher. Okay. You don't be a teacher because you want to be rich. You be there because you want to teach kids. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a choice. And it was a cool job. Everybody wanted it. And, you got to meet some cool people and do some cool things. But, looking back on it now, I'm like, man, I didn't get very much retirement because we didn't start this liquor store on radio money. Okay. We did this on CPA money. So, being behind her, she eventually made partner at her firm, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, congratulations for that.
So, yeah. So, that was in the middle of us growing this business. And here we are. It'll be 10 years on August 15th. I'm pretty excited about. It'll be our 10-year anniversary because they say if you could last 2 years, you're good to go. We lasted 10. I'm pretty happy about that. So
yeah. No, you mentioned a couple factors as to why the liquor store is a pretty secure industry to get into, for lack of, especially I always use the example is that restaurants are extremely risky.
Very risky. Someone has bad experience, they don't come back right away.
So you would say that liquor stores are pretty less risky than most if you're going to start a small business.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, like what you said, even if your commercial sales go down, instead of the conservation of matter, it's the conservation of alcoholism. They got to find it from somewhere.
Well, and when the economy's really good and everybody's going out to eat, going to the restaurants and the bars, I'm making a lot of money out the back door. When the economy's bad and everybody's staying at the house buying their own Crown and drinking in front of their own TV, making it out the front door. So either way, you balance it out. We have a really good 60-40 balance right now, and it's driving the business really well. And as long as you stay relevant, I try to, do things here and there on Facebook. You were talking about technology. You don't go as deep as I could always do better. Let's put it that way.
Well, of course.
But, I need to focus on the 138,000 people here in Abilene more than I need to focus on the millions out there on Facebook. Now, when you go to the comedy end, that's the opposite. I care less
absolutely.
About here. They're going to see all my jokes that didn't work here in Abilene, okay? And everywhere else I go, they're going to see the good ones, the ones that did work. So
that's such an interesting contrast, though, to think because, and it makes sense, too. Someone in India is not going to hop on a plane to come and get, well, maybe they will, but most people in India are not going to hop on a plane to come get some Big Johnson liquor.
No, and if they do, they'll get in Dallas, Fort Worth where they land. You know what I'm saying? So
but it's very plausible that someone in India can hear you set online and become a J.J. Johnson fan for life.
Exactly.
So that's what I
buy my DVD and watch my Netflix special. Yeah, someday.
Yeah, exactly. Did you ever consider at some point opening like a second location or expanding or even allowing franchisers?
That's a really good question. We did think about franchises in the beginning. That would be really cool to have one like Vegas and here and there.
But you have to make sure that the right person is going to run it the right way because
because you got to have it the right way or it's not going to be the same. The name is cool. We did trademark the name. We trademarked the logo.
Got it.
And that was one thing that we really wanted to do because we wanted to protect that. And believe it or not, no one had thought about Big Johnson Liquor in the whole history of the world before me. Wow, it blew my mind. So we trademarked it, and we thought about opening another location. It was really cool that you asked that, but since the election turned out the way it did, owning a second business,
I mean, yeah, expanding is just like a whole.
It wasn't the time.
It's a whole new challenge versus opening the first business.
Well, that yes and no, and there's advantages in both directions too, because I already know what I don't want to do again. Okay.
Exactly.
And the location that I actually had picked out was already a liquor store. I was just going to take over that guy's lease because he wasn't making rent, knock a hole in the wall, make it a drive-through, and run all my restaurant and bar business out of that location.
And you already have your infrastructure, very low update costs.
Exactly. So I would have been able to do it. It was more on the taxes I was worried about, the payroll I was worried about with the new presidency and all these unknowns. I couldn't pull the trigger on it, and I just said, well, we'll just remodel the store we have and put more liquor in it, and we'll go from there. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're in the process of making a plan to expand, try to get about another $150,000, $200,000 worth of inventory in the store, and expand some choices and things like that.
Okay, let's say you had a magic wand other than the Big Johnson. Let's say you had a magic wand and you get one wish, if you will, and you want to encourage more people to be small business. I think you'd agree the world would be a better place if more people own their own businesses.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, if you had a wand and you wanted to make that reality, what would be one thing you would do to make it so that more people would start their own small businesses?
I would go back in time and kill Sam Walton at birth. No, just kidding.
I don't know who Sam Walton is.
He owns Walmart. Yeah.
Okay.
I would go back in time and kill Sam Walton at birth.
Well, but
no, just kidding.
If it wasn't him, it'd be someone else.
Exactly.
It'd be Salmo.
But the thing is, it's really tough. A lot of people, it's not like it was back after the Depression when we started coming out of the Depression, and everybody had an opportunity because it was easier to do things. The wealth gap is so enormous. I think if I had a magic wand, I would even out the wealth gap. I would make the rich a little bit less rich and the middle class a little bit more wealthy.
Now, I don't want to get too far into it. I'll save this for later. What would you think about a universal basic income?
I think it's a horrible idea. Okay.
Really? Okay, let's save that for the philosophical end on it, because I'm a big Andrew Yang fan. I believe in it. But let's save that for a little bit later, because we're still getting some really interesting stuff. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. I have a good opinion on that.
Well, fair enough. So you very much Abilene centric in the business. What kind of do you do a lot of community outreach or anything like that? And how do you try to branch out in the community, if you will?
Well, as a small business, owner, it's really hard because, everybody knows me from being on the radio for 13 years. And, he owns a business. Let's go talk to him about that. Maybe he'll sponsor a softball team, or I'll do, and I get so many people that come out and ask me to donate for this or that. Can you donate a bottle for, if I did everybody, I'd be out of business. It's just really hard. So I picked a couple and I stick to those two pretty much religiously, minus a few things here and there for, whatever happens. Hey, this kid needs surgery. We're having this charity auction. Here's a bottle.
Yeah, I was going to say,
guys auction off stuff like that.
I could see you doing a lot of charity type drives.
So we do some charity stuff, but the two things to get involved with the community that I do, or that I did do, is donate to New Horizons, which is a boys' home here. They have a beer summit, and I'm one of their sponsors to their summit. They do a golf tournament and things like that. And the other is I've been the MC for the Alzheimer's walk here in Abilene, Texas, Taylor County for the last 11 years. I'm doing it. My own grandmother had Alzheimer's, so it's kind of near and dear to my heart. So we spend a lot of time, and all the extra change at the liquor store that gets donated to people, like I'll keep the change, it all goes to Alzheimer's. So we get to donate all that money every year too to them. So we try to do some little things here and there. The most thing that you could do in your community is be involved in the government of your community. I lived in Abilene, Texas, where from the time I was 23 years old, the bars closed at midnight in this town. This was the Bible Belt. It was horrible to be a single man at 23, but the bars closed at midnight. You're like, man, what am I going to do? This is horrible. And I always said, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that. You know, I'd talk on the radio the 13 years I was on the radio in Abilene, and I'd be like, I want to change that. We should be open at midnight. Well, I became a liquor store owner and learned about the liquor laws in Texas and found out, you know, they wanted to raise our taxes and close some rec centers here in town. And we have the worst roads in Texas. And I'm like, wait a minute. We can extend alcohol hours from midnight to 2 a.m, like every other town in the country, and generate thousands in tax revenue. So I got with one of my friends that back in the day when I was on the radio was one of the guys that listened to me, would show up at all the little concerts and remotes that we would do. And he happened to be a city councilman now. We actually got old enough to be able to run some shit when we got old. He became a city councilman, and I talked to him about it. He told me to go to a city council meeting, and I went to him and I said, look, you guys are stupid. It doesn't cost you anything. You're not paying anybody to do a study. You're not building a building, and you're not fixing a road. I need 4 out of 7 hands to go up, and you generate thousands in tax revenue for the city. And they all looked at the city manager, and he said, yeah, the city of Abilene could expect a significant windfall if this passes. Boom. 7 out of 7 hands went up. I got the bars open till 2 a.m. I'm like, it was that easy. Care. That's what you got to do. If you want to involve yourself in the community, care about little things like that.
I mean,
did it help my business? It helped my business a little because the restaurants and bars buy from me. But the people that were more in favor of it were the restaurants that didn't even have a liquor license, because now they know they're going to have butts and seats at 9 o'clock because these kids don't have to go and leave the restaurant at 7 so they can get to the bar because it's closing at midnight. We got to go. You know what I mean? You have less DUIs, believe it or not, because you got these kids power drinking from 10 to midnight because the bar's going to close and then they leave wasted versus it closing at 2. And it was a fact. I looked it up. DWI, the alcohol content of a DWI is higher when they get pulled over at midnight than they do if they get pulled over at 2. So it's an interesting thing, but I looked at the chief of police and he agreed with me during this meeting. So that's how I got these city councilmen. So, I mean, there's just little things. You got to be involved, but you got to be careful because you can always put your foot in their mouth too. A lot of times, you know, you get on the wrong side of an opinion in this world. It's crazy as a small business owner. So you got to try to stay in the middle. You're never going to see a guy's so-and-so for city council in my window of my liquor store. Even if I'm voting for him, you stay neutral. You can't do that.
What if it's you? Would you be ever considered running yourself?
No way. I don't have the patience for that. No way. I would make an ass of myself on that council. I would tell somebody, you're being stupid. Get out of my face. You know, just leave. That's a dumb point, you know. I almost did it.
At least you know yourself. At least you know yourself.
There. I mean, when I went there to get the bars open till 2, we had people like, "Oh man, men are going to start beating their wives more." I'm like, man, we already had this conversation. Okay, we sell alcohol in this city. That's not going to increase. That's a ridiculous argument, you know. And luckily, I didn't have to say that. I just sat there and shook my head. Didn't say anything because somebody else said it. You know what I mean? I don't have the patience for that. I admire those people that could sit up there and listen to the, excuse my French, bullshit. Okay. From every complaint. My neighbor's got a dog that won't stop barking.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you ever seen Parks and Rec, but I think they illustrate that, like just how ridiculous some people
exactly. And believe it or not, that's more real than you think. Some of the ridiculous stuff.
The founders knew about the dangers of factions, but also the importance of allowing delicate balance. I don't usually have strong feelings about documents, but the Constitution is one that I do quite enjoy, despite there was a lot of stuff in the beginning that we've taken out since that was not quite ideal.
Well, we weren't perfect, but we got better. That's what you really have to remember here. You know, I mean,
absolutely.
You know, there's a reason why we changed the laws, because we were wrong. We fixed it. Okay. You know, I really, truly believe, okay, that 99% of the people are good and they don't care what color you are. They don't care where you're from or your race is. They care how you treat them. Okay. The other half or the other percent, the 1%, whatever it is, we can't let them be the voice for everyone. Because that's not how it is. Okay. Yeah, I mean, totally my experience as a Sig Ep, I've never seen a racist person in my life at Sigma Phi Epsilon when I was there. Okay. So this systemic racism crap it drives me nuts. You know, we had a black president for 8 years, dude. Is there racism? Of course there is. There's always jerks out there. Are there bad cops? Yes, there's bad cops. There's way more good cops than bad cops. Okay. All right.
Sure.
So to say something systemically racist, no, it is not, man. It isn't, or we wouldn't have the life experiences that you and I have already had in our lifetime, with plenty of people of every single nationality, color, race,
Yeah,
creed,
sure.
whatever. I don't care what your religion is. I care how you treat me. That's what I care about.
I mean, I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, like you said, yeah, there's lots of there's lots of bad stuff out there, but because we have so many people, 1% is, the scale of it, because we're so scaled up, and then we have social media where we can zoom in.
And it
It
and
makes
it
it so easy.
amplifies
It
it
makes it
so great.
so easy to cherry pick.
And it's sad. It really is. And it's on both sides, man. You
Sure.
watch the things like, we need to get these kids back in school. They don't get COVID. We should get them back in school. And then you got at the same breath talking at their other end. We got all these little kids coming across the border with COVID. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I thought kids didn't get COVID. So I mean, you got to be able
Oh,
to
well,
weed
well,
through the
media,
shit
media
and see what the
is
real
a
thing is, because
disaster.
it's sad.
Media is a disaster.
It really is sad.
Yeah, and then yeah, I mean, not to get too far down that, but public discourse has become more and more kayfabe as we've gone on, where it's about a persona and not actual, once you look beyond of what actually happening, it's one face and then another thing
People
going
are
on.
not looking at what people are doing. They're looking at what
No.
they're saying. And that's
Mhm.
wrong. Okay. Because you're watching it happen before your eyes.
I would definitely agree with you. I mean, I think we definitely probably have some disagreements as well, but I think
Which is good. That's what
in
makes us,
principle, we agree on things. It's just maybe contextually we might disagree on a few things.
and
But
that's
that's, as
okay.
long as you keep it framed as a difference of opinion and not a right wrong, that's
Exact.
all
You
you
know
gotta do,
what?
man.
When people get that way, it makes me so angry, because it's like, if you can articulate what you're feeling, maybe you could change my mind instead of
Hmm.
calling me a racist or a bigot when you have no
Yeah.
idea where I came from, who I am. You know what I'm saying? And it blows my mind.
And
Just
also,
because
let
we
me just ratchet
disagree,
this to,
we have to
yeah, let me,
remember we're on the same team. It's kind of like having an offense and a defense. Okay. We do
yeah,
different stuff. We believe in different things, but we're on the same team.
we
Let's
might have
knock this
different
off.
opinions, but it's us versus Walmart.
That's right.
Um,
Fuck Walmart. Yeah.
what's your friend's name there?
And that's Nola. She's a 50% bloodhound, 50% lab. I also have a male 50% bloodhound, 50% lab that are, his name is Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
They don't breed. I only like the 50/50s. They're the perfect dog.
Yeah, no.
They're perfect around kids. They're the best watchdogs. They're the sweetest, most loving animal in the world.
I'm a cat guy.
We were gonna breed them. Actually, we were gonna have a full blood lab and a full blood bloodhound and make these dogs for service dogs, because my other one, we take to nursing homes and stuff,
Okay.
to visit the patients, and they're just the best dogs. So what we were going to do is do that. We started out with our full blood bloodhound, and he got to be 1 year and tried to kill Rocky. So we had so he's now in South Texas. He's actually with the sheriff's department in South Texas as
Oh, okay.
he is a beautiful bloodhound. But so we decided to just raise Nola. We went to New Orleans, Louisiana, and picked her up. That's why her name's Nola. And,
Yeah.
okay.
So we were discussing, the need for people to be able to disagree, and I'd like to take the example, ratchet it up a little bit, and go to the touchiest example I could think of, which would be the abortion issue. I don't think you're going to find much touchier subjects in America these days.
You're right.
But I think it's very important, especially the touchier it gets. We need to be able and willing to rationalize opinions that we don't agree with. At the end of the day, on abortion, there's never going to be a right wrong. Science
No.
can't prove the existence of life. It's just not how it really works. So some people believe that it's a living thing and some people don't. And but we want to frame it in this way. One side is like, they're a bunch of evil baby murderers. And the other side says they're a bunch of women controlling misogynist. And and I
And there's ways
understand.
to look at it the other way, where you could say abortion is the most racist thing that ever hit America because of where it's focused, how many people it has affected in that race, And if you look at the person that started all this family planning, she was a very much a racist. So there's arguments on all across the border.
Oh yeah,
The,
sure, sure.
the
But
way
I,
I
yeah,
the way I look at it is this, man. You do you, I do me. This is America. We have freedoms, okay?
yeah, I agree.
And who am I to tell you what to do? Okay. I choose not to. I would hope that
Yeah.
the person I was with would choose not to. Okay. But I have no say or anything about what you choose. And I wouldn't judge you for that because that's your life decision
Yeah.
that you have to make. You're the one sitting in your shoes, not me. So,
We can't vilify people for their
no,
difference of opinion. I mean,
no.
that's everything is because of our terrible media who is
The,
failing by is grasping for straws by the
the
day.
key is to stay away from the extremes. Okay. Constantly. Oh, you're for abortion. Then you think you should murder people? No, I didn't say that. I mean,
Everyone just wants to get points for them, wants to get
they
more
want to go
points
to
on
the
social media.
extremes. Stay away from the extremes. Okay. Again, there's people that are so extreme about it. They've murdered doctors. There's so many people that don't think about how it's going to affect them later in their life until they're, later down the line and they realize, wow, I shouldn't have done that, or wow, I wish I didn't do that. There's so many things that affect. You can't tell someone how to live their life, how to make that choice. That's
I'm
something
100%
they
on
have
that
to do.
agreement with you.
And if you're really their friend and they're in that situation, you stand behind them no matter what.
Absolutely. The 10th is all I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I think for the most part I've touched on all the everything in terms of the business. So let us move to the comedy a bit. Your stage name is JJ Johnson.
Oh yeah, I might adjust that as I go on to Big Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
because I have a shtick that I've already written, that I getting ready to perform a bit where I do a rap, and it's really good to see an old white dude do this rap that is so smooth that it'll blow your mind. So it's all for effect. So I might go as Big Johnson just because I had that name trademarked already.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
And again, more people know me from the liquor store than ever knew me from radio. So when I walk into a bar now, it's like, hey, Big Johnson, what's up? So I mean, I'm like, damn, I'm already there, dude. I might as well just go with that. But yeah, I still go as Johnny Johnson when I go on stage.
When did you start doing stand up?
Well, I did a little bit back in the day when I was working in radio in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, life happened and I got out of
Sure.
doing the things that I did. Basically, it was about a year and a half ago. I started writing some more and they had some open mics. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. Ended up opening up the first time I hit the stage since I was doing it in the 90s. I ended up opening up for a couple of comics that came up here to Dallas, from Dallas, and did a show on Valentine's Day. And it really, when I did that show, those comics were asking me, well, where have you performed? Where are you performing at? And I'm all like, well, damn, I was that good. I haven't done this shit in 10 years, 15 years.
Very
So I'm
nice.
like,
Very
okay,
nice.
maybe I should start writing again. So I did a little bit of that. And so I wrote some and started doing some open mics, and ended up opening up for, you remember Skippy Handelman from the show Family Ties back in the day?
That's a touch before my time, but
Yeah, it's a little bit before your time, but he's a comedian now. So he came to Abilene. I opened up for him. Um, I got involved with Ron White when he came to town because he
oh,
has it.
I know Ron White for sure.
He
He's
had
a
he
big name.
Yeah, he has a tequila, and a funny story about the guy that owns the tequila company with him. It's also on the road with him, is Alex Ramundo. Alex Ramundo was a bartender at the Funny Bone in Dallas when I used to bring comics on stage.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I got involved in it in the beginning. Alex Ramundo met Ron White because Ron White's very first stand-up set was at the Funny Bone in Dallas, and he was
Oh,
nervous. Went up to the bar to do a shot, and the bartender bought him a shot. That was Alex Ramundo. They're now friends and own a tequila company together. It's called
shit.
Number One Tequila. You might want to try it out. It's outstanding. If you see Ron White live on stage, you'll see that he'll have a bottle of Number One right there on his
Mm-hmm.
on his.
So is that what the shot was?
Yeah.
Very nice. Very
But
nice. How has comedy changed from back then to now?
oh wow, it's a lot more dangerous. People are sensitive. I'm not going to go out there and start doing a bunch of racial jokes, and it's almost reserved for the people that have been there before you could try to even. It's almost limited your scope. Not that I write racial jokes. I don't. I write about life and everyday things that you see.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of it has to do with my life and my kids, and
But broadly speaking,
yeah, broadly speaking, you just have to be willing to put it out there, okay? Because if you're going to do something, go for it all the way. Don't half step. Jump in with both feet. And have somebody close to you that could say, yeah, that might not be the best one to say, or
yeah, definitely.
It's just scary. I can't imagine some of these guys. I watch Ralphie May, and he does a lot of racial stuff for a white dude. Granted, he grew up in the deep South, but still, he does a lot of racial stuff for a white dude. And I'm amazed at how he can do it because people know his heart.
You understand what I'm saying? He has to be very smart. Very precise with his word choice.
And he is.
I think it's not it's a bit of a needle to thread, but it's not impossible.
And thinking about the comics I saw in at Teal when I went to Teal, they let it fly. There's a lot of Jerry Seinfeld style shit, but they still let it fly a little bit. Where you go see a comic at a college now, if he's not a far left-wing leaning comic, he can get hammered, man. It's pretty kind of scary, and I live in a town where there's 3 college campuses. You just heard of Abilene Christian University in the tournament. And that's a pretty conservative college. So it's a little bit different than, like say maybe Berkeley or Ohio University up there in Ohio.
What about maybe like in terms of the style, have the bits gotten shorter, or is storytelling more or less in terms of like the style? Have you noticed any changes?
No, not really. It depends on the individual. Everybody's going to go out there. You've got those guys that go out there and drop F-bombs for 4 minutes. Okay. If you have to drop an F-bomb to be funny, you're probably not the best writer in the world. So, there's you use those for effect. You don't have to say it every other word. They're trying to emulate some of the shock comics like Richard Pryor back in the day, where he was him and there's some even further back than him that really broke the barrier of, oh my God, I can't believe he said that on stage.
Break the barrier, he made a diagram of it.
Well, and with George Carlin, he talked about real life, real things, and even though he was dropping bombs, people are going, yeah.
Well, all good comedy has to have some level of real life to it, or else that's kind of the joke to it. If it's not hitting something real, then it's not really a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was kind of the same. The way I write is to actionize, humanize, and localize.
Okay.
Where am I at? Okay. What's cool about this town? What can I say about it that's funny, that somebody here is going to get? Talk to the people that live there. You humanize, standing in line behind that old guy buying 70 lottery tickets at the convenience store. God, that pisses you off. I know everybody's had that experience. So you got to hit on those little things and try to find a way to tweak it.
And that's what we call meme. That is what a meme is technically defined as, some kind of idea that memes aren't just pictures that they think of today. A meme is just like a kind of culturally held, very niche idea that everyone
snapshot in time.
Everyone kind of nods their head to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You would hope, a successful one anyway. And that's kind of how comedy is, everybody's lost their fucking cell phone. Okay. I have a great bit about losing my cell phone and cussing at myself in my car, going crazy. And the guy at the red light next to me looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? You're all like, it's kind of, it's not a good thing. Okay. So, everybody's had that experience where they lost their fucking mind, but no one else was around to see it. Okay. And then that one moment where, oh fuck, somebody saw me. You could make that feel real in somebody's life. Everybody wants to belong to something. So you could make them feel that way.
Well, actually, since you use the word belong, in your experience in the comedy scene, which of these 2 words do you find best describes it? Cooperative or competitive in the stand-up comedy world?
I honestly say cooperative. I really see a lot of comics cheering each other on. We have a little, Abilene is known as the Key City. So we have the Key City Comedy Group here, and there's about 4 of us, 5 of us that perform together every now and then at clubs here in town to try out our new stuff before we go to the surrounding areas to do it. And everybody coaches you on, hey man, slow down, dude. That shit's really funny. You could do, and it's really, I see that more than, oh, fuck that guy, man. I hate that guy. I really seriously do. And, and it was that way in radio in the big markets. You get to the big markets and all the jocks are friends, man. We all go out and drink together. We all go to the football game together. It's all cool. And the little markets are like, oh, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, his girlfriend. Yeah, I fucked his girlfriend. I mean, it's just, they all hate each other. And it's really funny because it's like, dude, you're in Abilene, Texas, dude. Chill out. I'm cracking the mic talking to 7 million people and hanging out with the guy that's across the station when we get off at the same time. We're meeting at the bar and our ratings are against each other, but we're not talking shit about each other. I mean, it's just,
that's what I've been hearing from a lot of musicians as well. Small musicians.
And it's a very prevalent in the music community where everybody wants you. It's bad karma to knock out. Why don't you want that guy to do good? He wants you to do good. I mean, bad karma, man. I'm a karma person, dude. Treat people the way you want to be treated. I want you to cheer me on when I'm on stage. I want you to laugh at my shit, even though it's not funny sometimes. Okay, no, just kidding. I mean, you just gotta. You gotta have karma, man. You gotta do people the way you want to be treated, and if you do that.
Yeah, most comedians follow that.
Yeah, well, I do agree that most comedians do follow that. At least the ones that I've met here in the southwest region of Texas. So yeah, I mean, I've performed in San Angelo and Abilene and Dallas, and so I haven't seen anybody be an asshole. I mean, we all know where we're at. You know what I mean? None of us are doing Netflix specials yet. So you got to, we all want to get there. And if one of them did, I would be cheering their asses on, man. I'm like, hey, man, I perform with that guy. I mean, how cool would that be? So, I mean, you hope that people have that thought, and you hope that people, and like I said before, most people are good people, man. It's the 1% that are assholes. Fuck them. Fuck them. Worry about the 99%. Fuck them. Okay. Don't worry about it. That's how I go through life. Some bullshit happens. You talk about karma. Karma's a really real thing to me. I really believe that you treat people the way you're treated. Yeah, every now and then you got to eat the shit burger. You just push that away, move on to the next thing. Okay. Because later in life, that shit burger is going to come back as gold. Okay. And I truly believe that I'm living proof, getting shit on by all the women I got shit on all the way till, oh my God, I met my wife. Best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm so glad those women shatter. I'm so glad they shit on me, man. Because look what I ended up with. You look back in time. So you just got to keep on rolling, man. Keep looking forward. Learn from the past, but keep looking forward.
What, without bringing up too much PTSD, what was you ever had a bad bomb? You ever bombed really hard on stage?
Not that I can remember. I tried.
So not yet.
No, yeah, I'm sure that will happen. I'll get somewhere. I just hope I never have to follow somebody that's really super. Well, if you feel it coming halfway through,
I think you got to double down and bomb.
Well, I'm really lucky because I've got to open up for some really funny people. So, I mean, the most intimidating thing as a comic when you get on stage is you look out there and you see all these people that are like, all right, like, make me laugh, fucker. Okay, that's really intimidating. Okay, yeah, especially when you're opening up for Ron White or Alex Raimondo or somebody that's been around for a while, and you're like, I know they're going to be funny, man. I got to be good because you're going to be compared to that next guy. So if I can hang with them just a little bit, even better. And plus, I have an advantage when I'm opening up for those big guys because I only have to do 4 minutes, 7 minutes. They got to do 40, man. That's really hard to do.
I'd like to dig in a little bit to the creative process a little bit. How do you go about writing these sets? What's that process look like?
Well, there's you want to try to tie things together at the end and all that. Basically I just start writing, and I have a notepad everywhere I'm at. Because if I think of something funny, I write it down.
So Eminem style, if you will.
You have to write down everything. At least I do. I write down all my little ideas, and then I just try to develop them as I go. And I have a great sounding board with my wife because she thinks I'm not funny. So if I can make her laugh, I did good. Okay. So it's a challenging thing because you don't know. Something that's funny to me might not be funny to you. Or in my head, that sounded so much better in my head.
Well, it might be funny to me today, but not funny to me tomorrow for whatever reason.
And a lot of times you just hone your stuff. That's why I try to do as many open mics, little things like that as I can, especially the situation I'm in here in Abilene, because I have a small business and I'm a liquor licensed owner. When there's a liquor licensed establishment putting on a comedy show, that place can't pay me. There's a problem there with the relationship.
Yeah.
So I have to either be working for a comedy group or a promoter. They pay the promoter pays me. Then we're good. So you got to watch some of those things. But I like doing it because you're going to be able to do the same set 6-7 times. Okay.
Practice it and change the inflection.
Yeah. Oh, that person. Ooh, this worked. That didn't. And it's the same thing with when I worked in radio, dude. I recorded every single show I ever did, and on my way home from work, I was always listening to yesterday's show. I don't want to listen to today's show because I know what I meant. So I might miss the mistake that I made. Or if I'm listening to yesterday's show, oh man, I totally fucked that up or whatever. I might not have heard that. So I listen to myself. I critique myself. You're your own worst critic. I know what I want to look like. I want to know how I want to know the reaction I want from the crowd. So I need to do what I can to get that reaction. So you adjust stuff sometimes, and again, it's not easy. It's hard. It's a process. And some people have just that natural ability and some people got to work at it a little harder.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So Wayne, kind of in the same vein of the business, if someone, I'll say personally, I've been interested in looking into doing some stand-up at some point in my life. I'm not sure exactly what kind of form would be best, whether it be like an improv or a story-based, or I'm not sure what my style would be, but it's something I would like to do. But me, or to anyone in general, what would be a couple pieces of specific advice you would give someone who wants to start out doing stand-up?
The first thing I would say is it's not as easy as it looks. You get up in front of those people and nobody laughs. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Just move on to the next thing. It's hard. It is. It's, anything worth doing is hard. Okay. Anything that's worth something is hard. So go up there, the most scary thing in the world is the first time you get up there and look out at all those people. Okay. And just work on your shtick. I mean, I make my wife videotape me. So when I'm doing it and I see myself wandering the stage, oh man, stay in one spot. Be the focus, so there's little things that you pick up as you go along.
You don't try to make big changes.
No, watch your peers, learn from your peers. There's nothing wrong with learning from other comics. You can't copy their stuff, but you can learn a style, you can learn a delivery, you can learn something that they did that's like, oh, that was really funny. Maybe I could tailor my idea to what they did. So there's ways to do that. And again, I did that in radio. Anywhere I traveled, I listened to the radio station because I wanted to know what that jock sounded like. Am I better than him? Do I sound better than him? I wanted to compare myself
What's he do that I'm not doing?
Right, to the Tampa mark. How did he get a job in Boston? How did he get a job in New York? So luckily, I ended up being able to get one in market number 5. I made the majors. Cool. And how did you do that? By recording yourself every day, by critiquing yourself, never stop trying to get better. So I'm kind of applying that same way to the comedy end. Now, when you own a business, it's a little hard because your time's limited. But if you focus, you could do it.
Yeah. Very nice. I'm going to shift gears a little bit here. Something we've been both a little excited about. You are a man who knows a thing or two about blues, correct?
About brew? Yeah.
Blues, yeah. Well, I have here a little tier list. This is on the Tier Maker website. Someone made this template. So I thought it might be fun if the two of us went through and maybe ranked some beers from S to F. I got the list here, so we'll just go through them and you let me know where you think things go, and if you have a reason why or any fun stories with that specific beer, please let me know. How's that sound?
All right, man.
All right, we're starting off with Angry Orchard.
Angry Orchard, yeah. Every little bowhead girl's dream.
Yeah.
The little apple cider. It's okay. I sell a lot of that at the store. That's probably one of my top 10 non-seltzers right now, with the market being what it is.
Yeah.
I would probably say I'd give that a C.
C? All right. Next up, Arrogant Bastard Ale. And now this I haven't heard of.
Arrogant Bastard. It is really super cool. You should try to find a bottle of it. And if you look on the bottle and read it, it'll actually tell you, you're not going to like this beer. That's how arrogant they are. It's a really, really strong stout, and you'll know why. They tell you you're not going to like this beer. It's one of those ones almost like a scotch of beers. You got to acquire a taste for it. But I would say that would rank up there as an A.
Very nice. All right. So it's a bit darker and drier.
It is. Read the bottle. Yeah, it's one of those ones that it's a great name, but I'm gonna tell you what, the people that drink it, they love it.
It's like one of those really hot sauces, kind of.
Yeah, you have to acquire a taste for it, just like scotch. Yeah.
All right. We're going over to Japan for a second. We have Asahi.
Yep, that's one of the most common beers you'll find at a Japanese restaurant. It's really good with steak. Okay.
What's your cut? What's your favorite cut? Just out of curiosity.
Oh man, I don't care what it is, man. As long as it's cooked right, I'll eat it.
What is cooked right? Medium rare.
Oh, medium rare. It's got to be pink. Got to be pink in the middle for sure.
All right. What tier of beer are you having at the Japanese steakhouse, my man?
I would put that at a B for sure.
B?
Yeah, yeah. It's a good beer. You'd like it.
Okay. Ballast Point.
Ballast Point. I've sold a bunch of Ballast Point stuff. They have a very nice selection. You should check out their website, actually.
Okay.
I would say that probably ranks up in the B area as far as craft brews and people that like to try different things. Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Next up, we have Beck's.
Beck's, yeah, it's like a gas station beer. It's the lager. It's the Budweiser. It's the foreign beers. It's kind of in the middle of the road. I'd go C with that one.
C tier, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one of my personal favorites, Blue Moon.
And that's really funny. It's really funny when you go to a place that you're like, oh, we have craft beer, and you're like, oh, cool. What kind of craft beer you have? And they're like, Blue Moon and Shiner, and you're like, oh, well, that's really not what I had in mind, but okay. So yeah, I would definitely put this in the C category. It's really good with an orange. I know. That's
really
like the thing,
C tier for Blue Moon.
Yeah, C tier. I like Blue Moon.
I would probably put that in A tier, especially with the orange. You're absolutely right. That's a combo. Bud Light Lime.
Bud Light Lime, yeah, that's definitely a gas station beer. It moves pretty good during the summertime. I would definitely put that in a D tier, though.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really be in the mood for it.
Yeah, and if you know anybody that it's your everyday drinker kind of beer for the guy that's cutting the grass and wants to have a couple after work.
Yeah, no wrong with that. In the same vein, I think Bud Light Orange.
I think that is disgusting. I don't even sell it in my store. First time I saw it, I thought, why? I mean, it's crazy. Where are we gonna have hot dog flavored beer next? That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's not my favorite either.
No, it's definitely pretty sick. And I haven't had anybody go, hey man, you don't have any Bud Light Orange in here? So I'm not missing anything.
Sometimes on the rare occasion, I'll get like that variety pack where it's 3 orange, 3 lemonade, 3 lime, but the orange is always, the worst part of that.
Oh, is it the last what you have left?
Yeah. Just regular old Bud Light.
Hey man, you go to the concert and they don't have anything but crappy beer. You always can grab a good old Bud Light, man. You can put that at a C too.
Solid C, I would agree. And then Budweiser.
I put Budweiser at a D, and that's only because it gives me the shits the next day. It's the only beer I ever drank that gave me the shits, and it's Budweiser. So I got to give that a D, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a little bit chunkier version of Bud Light, in my opinion. Busch.
No, Busch. That's okay. That's one of those ones they sell a lot of 40s of that.
Yeah, a lot of racks.
Yeah, I'd put it in the D tier.
Fair enough. That's good. I'd say it's a good case race beer. You don't want anything too heavy if you're doing a case race.
Right.
All right, Cass Fresh.
I haven't had it. They don't sell that in Texas. When I was a kid, we drank Mickey's up there at Teal, and Schlitz Malt Liquor Bowl. So.
All right, no ranking for Cass.
Yeah,
that's fine. All right, the historic Colt 45.
Colt 45, man. I tell you what, you want to get a buzz, man. Nothing like a Colt 45. I'm telling you right now, you can put that in a C tier.
C tier, very nice. Cass, get out of here. Coors Banquet.
Coors Banquet, yeah, that's the same thing as the D tier. The gas station beer is the one that everybody's gonna find.
Would you say the same thing about regular Coors?
Yeah, Coors Light, where you got to drink 47 of them to get a buzz.
Yeah. Fun story. Coors was my first legal beer. It was fine. It was a D tier. It was a D tier.
It's perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's what you want to shout out at. Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Dogfish Head.
Yeah, the Dogfish Head has some great beers, man, and every one of their beers comes with a really super cool story. Um, you've got several different kinds, including what's the name of that one? I can't think of it off the top of my head right now because I've had too many of these on a Sunday morning.
Well, a little quick pause. What do you got there?
Crown Vanilla and Coke.
Oh, you're a liqueur, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm a big Deserono fan myself.
Oh, there you go. No, I like my whiskey. I'll drink my whiskey. Crown Vanilla is my go-to. But I'll try anything. I was drinking Colorado Bulldogs the other day while I was grilling on the grill. That's always fun because I'll drink 2 of those and be like, okay, I gotta stop. Because I make them really strong because they taste really good. But no, I usually drink whiskey.
Fair enough. All right, what do you think on Dogfish Head?
Dogfish Head's definitely an A tier. Outstanding selection. You might want to check out the 120 if you like hoppy beer. The 120-minute IPA is amazing. They also have a 90-minute IPA, a 60-minute IPA. They have one called Midas Touch, which is really cool because it's based on this really super old. It's a really super old recipe that they found in a tomb, and they copied the recipe and made it, and it's called the Dogfish Head.
Do you believe that, or do you think they just made that up?
Oh no, they did. They came, the brewery came to Abilene at one of our really nice gourmet restaurants, and they did a tasting where they paired beer with the food, and they told stories about all the beers that they brew. It was pretty neat. It was a really neat experience.
That does sound really cool.
Yep.
All right. Dos Equis, which is kind of funny. You look like the most interesting man in the world if he hadn't seen the sun in 20 years.
Hey, it's because I wear a hat, man. You know what I'm saying? I live in Texas. It's hot here, bro.
Yeah. All right. Dos Equis, what do you think?
Dos Equis, I'm going to go with definitely a C tier on that one. It's a go-to here in Texas.
Fair enough.
Good beer.
All right. Dragon's Milk. I've never heard of this one before.
I have heard of that one before. I've never tried it. We don't have it here in Texas, but I've heard it's pretty good. So I'd probably have to rate it at least a B.
Fair enough.
The people that have told me are connoisseurs. So
you trust their judgment.
That's right.
All right. New Belgium Fat Tire.
Fat Tire, really cool story about Fat Tire. How they New Belgium has a really, really good selection of beers. I would definitely put them in a B category.
All right. Foster's
Lager. Funny story about Foster's Lager, man. I play PlayStation every now and then. I'll get on Call of Duty and stuff.
Yeah, same.
Play some Modern Warfare or whatever. And I was playing with a dude from Australia, man, and I asked him about Foster's, and he was like, "Man, that's the shittiest beer we have here." So I was like, I thought that was kind of funny. So I'm going to put that one in the D tier just because of my buddy in Australia.
Fair enough. All right, D tier it is. All right, next up we have Founders IPA.
Founders, another one that's a really cool brewery. I would definitely put them in the B tier. They have one called a breakfast stout. You should try that one. Yeah, it's and they also have one called Dirty Bastard. And that one's a really popular one, and I saw a lot of the Founders Dirty Bastard as well. You should look that up.
Interesting. I think I will. What, in your opinion, what makes a good breakfast beer?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really drink beer in the morning. If I did, I would probably drink a porter, like a vanilla porter or something like that.
Yeah.
With my eggs and bacon and some pork and some vanilla porter. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd taste good.
Honestly, I like it just a little liqueur in the iced coffee. Anyway, Goose Island.
Goose Island's another good one, man. Put them in the B tier. They have several beers that are pretty good. We sell some Goose Island stuff at the store.
All right, my good friend Invest Tony, who was on episode 1, he will be watching this next one with a lot of interest. Where are you putting Guinness?
Oh, I would definitely put Guinness in an A tier. They have a good enough name. A lot of people buy it. And it's a beer that everybody that I've known that tried it liked it. So.
And they've got a couple different variations for different tastes as well.
Yeah, the stout and the Guinness Blonde is one that I actually like after I cut the grass. So it's a good beer. Guinness, good brewery.
All right, Heineken.
Heineken, man, I'm gonna put them in the D tier. They're just like everybody else, You like them, huh? You like the Heinies?
I love Heineken. Heineken's my
Re-
favorite. Okay,
Really?
so I am slightly biased.
What do you like about Heineken? Then let me ask you.
I'm
So I know.
slightly biased on this. First of all, they're the sponsors of the UEFA Champions League,
Okay.
which when I was younger, I thought that was so like, oh, who would drink beer? Now I'm all about it. Um, I don't know. I just like the taste. I really like the smell of it. I don't know what it is about the. Maybe it's just me, but it kind of smells a little bit like weed.
Well, you know, it's really funny. That's the whole point. There's so many beers. Everybody has their own taste buds, and it's pretty cool to see how people react to different beers. It's the same thing with wines. You know, you tell somebody about a wine, oh man, if you taste this wine, you can really taste the raisin that they put in
Mm-hmm.
this, right? And there might not be any raisin in it, but they'll take a sip and go, wow, I tasted raisin. I mean, so it's such a subjective thing. I think it's very
Yeah,
fascinating
sure,
to me.
sure. Yeah, I'll agree with you there. And then also kind of a funny story about Heineken. It was one of the two beers that was on tap at my brother's wedding reception. So we talked about the wedding. That was a small affair. But the reception was kind of like the replacement wedding, if you will, where everyone came.
Cool.
And the two beers on tap were Heineken and Sam Adams, which we'll hit in a second. But they had a green screen for taking pictures with like funny backgrounds and stuff.
Oh,
And
cool.
I have a picture with all the groomsmen where we're all flipping off the camera, but
Uh,
we're all drinking Heineken as we do it. But because the bottle is green on the green screen, like the bottle disappears in the picture,
oh,
and like
that's
there's just like
hilarious.
there's floating labels. Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
mean you can kind of
Who'd have
tell what's
thought that,
going
man?
on,
That's
but
kind of cool.
yeah, we're all just like drinking these invisible bottles. So
That's
that's always
awesome.
a fun memory I
That's
have.
a
I have that
neat
picture
picture. Yeah.
somewhere. I have that picture somewhere. Henry's Hard Soda.
You know, I saw a lot of the orange, and I saw the first time I put it out, I didn't think, I don't know, man, how's this gonna go, man? I'm gonna say it's in the C tier. The girls love it.
Fair enough, man. Well, that's one thing you always gotta. If the ladies love it, then that's always a bonus point or two for buying it. All right. Next up, we have Keystone. Keystone Light.
Keystone Light, man. I'm telling you, Keystone Light. That's one of those D tier beers, but you got to
Mm-hmm.
have it in your store because someone's gonna come and buy that $9.99 18 pack.
I don't know what this one is. Oh, get out of here! Get out of here! You're not on my list. Neither are you, Cass. King Cobra.
Never had it. Never heard of it.
Oh, all right. There. We're gonna move that to the bottom then. Cass, get out of here. Kingfisher.
Kingfishers, that's one of the ones that I carry in my store. It's we don't sell a lot of it, but you got to keep it in stock because there's always somebody coming in going, "Hey, you got a Kingfisher?" Okay,
It's niche.
Yeah, so I'd say C tier on that one.
All right, fair enough. All right, Kirin Ichiban, another Asian beer.
I would definitely put that in a B tier. That's not a bad beer. A lot of
I think it's
restaurants buy that from us.
Japanese.
Yep, it sure
Okay.
is. Yeah, a lot of people buy it. A lot of Asian people like it. They buy that one before a sign.
Interesting. Le Bas Bleu.
The Bad Blue, we don't sell it down here, Amanda, but I had it back when I was a kid back home.
Yeah, I could.
Labatt's Blue. It's a gas station beer. I'd put it in the D tier.
Fair enough. All right. Lagunitas.
Lagunitas, man.
Lagunitas.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. Lagunitas, I definitely put that in the A tier. That's an excellent A or B tier, one of the two. They have several varieties. The Lagunitas Maximus is one you should try. That we saw a lot of that one.
All right. Oh gosh, I'm gonna mess this one up. Leinenkugel?
Leinenkugel.
Shandy, specifically the summer shandy.
The summer shandy, every time the summer shandy's out, we sell out of it. It's a really good one. They come out with some, I was going to tell you about Lagunitas. They come out with some really good seasonal beers. So every time there's a seasonal out, you should try it. Now, I do sell the Berry Weiss like crazy. That's the number one seller. But I really like Lagunitas as seasonals. There's some pretty good seasonals.
What's your favorite season for seasonal beers?
I would have to say Christmas time.
Okay. Yeah, I like.
They come out with some good Christmas beers.
I've had some nice pumpkin ales around October.
Yeah, a lot of them come out. Post Oak has a really good pumpkin ale.
Or especially then like the Oktoberfest stuff around That's a whole.
around September. Yeah, it comes out some really good Oktoberfest, and every year they're different, so it's pretty cool.
So anyway, what do we think about the summer shandy?
Oh, it's excellent. I would definitely put that in the B.
All right. Very nice. All right. Ultra.
Gas station beer, D.
Fair enough.
Same with Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Mike's Hard, D.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The
All right,
champagne and
Miller
beers,
High Life.
believe it or not, that's like one of the cheapest beers we sell, but it's one of my favorite beers. Like when I'm working in the yard, put a little salt on that High Life, dude. It's awesome,
All
man.
right.
So I would have to say C tier on that one, man. It's pretty good cheap beer.
What about Miller Lite?
Miller Lite, man. You know, my buddies, Grammy nominated artist Bowling for Soup. They did the jingle to my liquor store. You can see it on the video if you go to my Facebook page or go to my website.
Bowling for Soup.
They did my jingle to Big Johnson Liquor and Beer, and they are sponsored by Miller Lite because they drink so much. So I'm gonna have to put that in the B tier for my boys at BFS.
I'd say it's another good case race beer as well. Not too heavy. All right, Milwaukee's Best Ice.
Oh my God, definitely a D tier. Unless you want to buzz and you can bop it up to a C, but yeah, that's
yeah. Okay, Modelo Especial Gelato.
The gelatos are pretty good, man. You know what that is, right? It's just a red beer, but you know.
No, I didn't know. I was curious.
Yeah, it's a little tomato juice in your beer, man. Pretty good stuff. I'd definitely put that in a C tier.
C tier. All right, and then the Modelo Negro.
Yeah, the Modelo Negro is very good. It's a pretty good dark beer.
If you have a taste for the dark, yes.
Yeah, I like dark beer, so I would definitely put that in a B.
Natty Ice.
Natty Ice. Oh God, that makes my stomach hurt just saying it. I'd have to say D for sure.
Natty Light.
Natty Light. It's a good seller at my store. It's one of those ones you got to have in stock. I definitely say a D tier.
You said D?
Yeah.
All right. New Glasses. I haven't heard of this one. Oh, New Glasses, excuse me.
We don't get that here in Texas either, man. So I couldn't help you.
Right. Put you on the end there. Newcastle Brown Ale.
Very good brown beer, man. Saw a lot of that. Put that in the B tier. That's a good beer.
All right. Next up, we have the Old English 800.
Old English. Ooh, that'll make your stomach hurt. That's a D tier beer, but I tell you what, it's got some pop to it, man. It hits like a truck.
All right, this is a shout out to my big PBR.
I'm gonna tell you what, I'm with you on the PBR, man. As I was a little boy, I used to collect beer cans back in the 70s because I was a little boy, you know, climbing at dumpsters and finding these really cool beer cans. And I found this beer can that was about this big, and I'm like, Pabst Blue Ribbon, that's really cool. I like. First beer I ever drank as a kid was a Pabst Blue Ribbon. So I'm gonna have to put that in the B tier right there. Man. PBRs.
Right. Yeah.
I tell you what, the Cowboys.
Two PBR pounders, and you're on your way.
And I tell you what, man, the Cowboys down here in Texas really like PBR. So
very, very nice. All right, up next we got the Pacifico.
Pacifico, good Mexican beer, man. Put that in the B tier. That's a good one at Mexican restaurant to have with your Mexican meal. Outstanding.
Oh, oops, wrong tier. No, I said B tier. For some reason, they didn't have it on here, but where would you put Corona?
Oh, that's definitely C or D. It's
nice with a lime.
It's like water. Special. Yeah, it's really, I don't like it. Yeah.
All right. Red Stripe. I haven't heard of this one.
It's a Jamaican beer, man. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. One of those session beers, I would call it. You able to drink a few, 4 or 5 of them. Without it being too damaging to you. Definitely put it in a C tier. It's a good beer.
All right. Reds.
Yeah, the Reds apple ale, man. I don't know, man. I'm not a real good apple ale guy. I don't particularly like all that cider stuff. But I'd put it in the D tier.
Fair enough. All right. One of my least personal favorites, Rolling Rock.
Latrobe, Pennsylvania, Rolling Rock, man. You know, you'd be believing it or not.
Way too much of that at Teal.
It was really, you'd see green bottles everywhere at Teal. I know, I remember those days. Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Yeah, no, that, believe it or not, it's a beer that sells pretty good here in Texas. I'd put it in the D tier for, you know, if someone was gonna put that in their store. It's definitely one you gotta have.
All right, this is a big one, which I'm actually personally not a huge fan of. The Sam Adams Boston Lager.
We sell a lot of the Boston Lager, man. That's a good beer. I definitely put it in the B or C tier.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird for me because it's not. I don't know. It doesn't hit the spot for me. Uh,
Yep.
Sapporo.
Another Japanese beer. Good beer. Put it in the C tier. Go to a
All right.
Japanese restaurant, have a meal, and have some Sapporo with it. It'll be good for you.
Shock top.
Shock top. Yeah, it's one of those ones that, some of the girls like it. It's not a bad
It's
wheat
lighter.
beer. Yeah, it's not a bad wheat beer, though. I put it in the C tier.
All right, fair enough. Smirnoff Ice.
Oh, the headache maker. Yeah, that's another one of those D tier ones that you got to have because all the chicks like those coolers. They got to
Well,
drink
and
them.
it's always fun to hide them around your house, and then you like, icing people. That's always fun. Stella. I like Stella.
Stella Artois. I like that. That's a good beer, too. I'd put that in a B tier.
Stella up there. Tecate.
Tecate, another good Mexican beer. Yeah, I saw a lot of Tecate and Tecate Light, man. I'd definitely put that in the C tier.
All right. CT.
Sing Tao, another good one, man. Put that in the B tier. That's a good beer.
All right. B tier. Starting to get old here. I gotta make sure I'm putting it in the right tier. White Claws. I've been one. Okay. What are your opinion on the seltzer boom that we've been seeing? What's your take?
Dude, I have so many different kinds of seltzers in my store. It's unbelievable. I could be called Big Johnson Liquor and Seltzer instead of Big Johnson Liquor and Beer.
Oh, it's not just you. It's every other place. I've seen
mind blowing.
Month by month. I've seen one more shelf is seltzer. One more.
But let me give you a piece of advice about the seltzers. Okay, if it's a malt-based seltzer, don't buy it. Okay, if it's a malt, meaning it's not liquor. Okay, it's like a wine cooler. Okay, All right. Canteen is a brand that's really good. High Noon is another one that's really good. Dolce Vita, that's another one that's really good. Buy the seltzers that have liquor in it instead of malt. You will feel so much better the next day.
What does White Claw have in it?
It's a malt, definitely. You could buy it at a convenience store here in Texas, so that's definitely a malt. But it hits like a truck. The girls love it, man. You got to put it in the C tier.
Yeah, and
it's every white girl's favorite.
Well, I try to watch my calories every now and again. So every now and again I'll get just
And dude,
especially if I'm just by myself.
If you're just gonna drink one, they're awesome. But if you're
half
drink
or doing
one,
it
it'll kick your tail, boy.
Take one and do it and mix it with some unsweetened iced tea or something like that.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Anyway, all right, this one you better be careful. I know we got a few Yinzers who listen to this.
Hey man,
Yingling
was the most common question I got at my liquor store when I opened it up. Are you going to carry Yingling? A lot of it had to do with because we have a military base and 3 colleges in this town, but it was a beer that I never even drank when I lived up there until I came back from there to visit family and stuff. And then that's when I started drinking Yingling. But man, it's a good beer, dude. I have Yingling. We'll go down to Louisiana and buy some Yingling across the border. Now, coming up by I believe October of this year, Texas will have Yingling, and I will have it in my store. So definitely put that in a B tier for sure. Yeah, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like Yingling. Zima? I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, because they don't make it anymore. They used to. It was like the very first wine cooler. People used to drop Jolly Ranchers in it to make the flavors. No shit. Back in the day. Yep. So yeah, they come out with it every now and then as like a retro release. I'll buy 5 cases of it and sell it in 2 days. But yeah, I definitely D tier because they don't make it anymore.
Fair enough. And then these ones I had on the end here. Limerita.
Yeah, those are gas station. Oh, that's a D for sure.
San Miguel,
that's actually pretty good, man. Put that in the C tier. Someone should try that if you haven't tried it yet.
Natty Light Natto Days. I don't know what that is.
It's a seasonal. They came out with a bunch of flavors of Natural Light. They had a Natural Light, Tropical. They had all these different flavors. You could put that in the F tier because I think it's garbage.
Because Bud Light Orange was looking a little lonely here. Yeah. What is this? I don't even know what this Head.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that. That's the one I saw at the beginning where I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Okay. Oh, we have another fat tire here. The Citradelic.
From New Belgium. Very good stuff.
New Belgium, yeah, that's what I meant.
Put that in the C tier. That's a good beer.
And what I can't read what this one is. Fresh Squeezed IPA.
Oh, that's excellent. Actually, the fresh squeezed IPA is a seasonal that you should definitely check that one out. Who
Who is?
does
I don't
this?
know what brand
It's
that is. I
new.
can't
It's
read the
New
picture.
Belgium. It's New Belgium's fresh
Oh,
squeezed
that's also
IPA.
New Belgium.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a C or B, yeah, for sure.
See, all right. And then we don't. Do you know any of
Yeah.
these?
Nah, those other ones I've never even heard of, man.
Well, all right. This is a nice little list.
Next time we need to do whiskey. Yeah,
Yeah. We'll do spirits next time.
I'll send you some bottles and make you try them while you're up there.
We didn't quite get anything up in S tier. What's it? What's an S tier beer for you?
Um, Gosh, let me think of one. There's one called Saint Bernardus App 12. It's like a 13% beer. Comes in a 4-pack. You only need 2. Drink it with a buddy. Very stout, very flavorful. But I'd have to say another S tier beer, and you probably can't get it up there yet because it's a brewery from Abilene, Texas. But the guy was in the Air Force with here in Abilene, became a cop, and a bunch of cops got together and started this little brew pub down there. And it's only open like Saturday afternoon. They'll have a food truck out there, and they'll sell all their beers on tap in there. But they also can for the distributor, and there's one called Stripper Dust. It's a vanilla IPA, and it is outstanding with like fish and chips, But yeah, so I would have to say that would be an S tier beer for me. Definitely a dark, thick beer that's like drinking a steak. You have 2 of them, and you're like, okay, I'm good.
Have you ever considered brewing yourself?
No, not really. I wasn't really interested in that.
Even just like one of those small self-home kits?
Nah, I had a lot of people ask if we were going to carry those in the store because that became a fad for a while. It would have just been really hard to keep the ingredients for people to buy it. We're not in a big enough city where I would be throwing out more ingredients than it would be worth.
Fair enough. All right. Well, as I like to do with all my guests, I like to get a little deep and a little fun at the end here. So I'm going to pull up my magical list of questions here, and then I've been having people pick from 1 to 55, but I'm realizing everyone just kind of keeps picking the numbers in the middle. So I'm going to ask you to pick a number 1 through 10.
All right. Number 8.
Number 8. Oh, this is a fun one. Get back here. How will the human race go extinct?
Cancel culture. That's how it'll go extinct. It's stupid. Okay?
Elaborate.
Everybody's entitled to a mistake. Okay. I'll give you a perfect example. One of my employees got a phone call. He answered the phone. Big Johnson Liquor and Beer. The first question the guy says is, "Are you alone?" So, of course, my employee says, "Well, that's an odd question to ask." Goes on to ask if he could walk down to the dental clinic at the other end of the building and let them know that they forward their phones to his wife's cell phone. Well, the guy's like, "Man, I can't leave my store. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that." So what happens is this guy turns out to be a DJ in this town at a local radio station. And he puts on his Facebook page how we're too stupid to help out his weird question of helping out his wife, and he puts it on Facebook. So, of course, what's really ironically funny is
I think I actually might have seen a little bit of this on Facebook.
half the people in this town realize who I am and how I've been in radio for all these years. And I'm like, wow, a local radio station is going to diss a local business. That's kind of shitty, man. I guess you need all the local, you got all the local advertising you need. You don't need any more. You're going to bust on us and then tag a liquor store in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that isn't even in this area. So, I mean, it's just like, well, that was kind of shitty. Okay, you're going to tag a competitor that doesn't even have a store here, but, Total Wines and more. Yeah, total dickhead move, right? So, of course, me being a little older and wiser, people are like, man, you should cancel him. Get everybody shut down that station. Do it. I'm like, no, man, he made a mistake, man. He stepped in a pile of shit and he's going to scrape it off his foot and he's going to move on. But what I did do was call his boss and go, hey, man, what's up with this? Of course, the post got taken down right away.
Because that's not how you do business.
No. That was dumb. Of course, your emergency isn't mine, dude. How me not doing you a favor is me being a dick. I'm like, wow, that was kind of. So it was kind of funny how it ended up because people wanted me to cancel him out. And I had the power to probably do that.
Yeah, but you didn't.
But that's stupid, man. Everybody's entitled to a mistake. Okay. You know, I'm not the same guy I was when I was a junior at Teal. Okay. I've grown into a different person. So mistakes I made back then that I might regret, I'm not going to let them drag me down. I learn from them. Okay. And the
You
hope,
never step in the
and
same
in the
room
hope that
twice.
somebody that I shit on back then forgave me and went, oh, he'll learn. He'll do better. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you got to have that compassion with people. So cancel culture is a poison. Okay. Because all they want to do
Don't
is
think
make
I
us hate
disagree
each
with you.
other. They're
I
trying
do
to
not
make us
disagree
hate
with you.
each other, man. Why are they trying to make us hate each other? That's
Did you
stupid.
see that recent the little clip from Charles Barkley was basically saying that
You know what? Charles Barkley is one of the simplest dudes you'll ever meet in your life. Okay. He's not a rocket scientist. He's a dude that likes basketball, but he probably said
damn
the
good at it too.
smartest thing I've ever heard in my entire life because what he said was exactly true.
He just spit it straight. Yeah. Okay. Let's get one more, if you will. Let's go a little bit further down. Let's say from mm, let's say from 40 to 50.
From 40 to 50, let's go
Yeah.
48, 48.
48. Oops, I'm gonna close it. Can a dictatorship be good? Can a dictatorship be an effective form of government?
No,
No. Come on.
absolutely not.
I agree with you, but expand if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, you, who, how does one person have a say? I don't agree with that. One person doesn't know what I like or what's good for me. Me telling you what's best for you. How do you feel about that?
Not good. No, I agree
No,
with you.
no, forget about that.
All right,
Won't work. It hasn't worked.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, we're good.
Here, okay, let me try to find one that we can maybe dig a little bit more into because those are a bit quicker. What is your opinion on the balance between nationalism and globalism?
You know, that's a good question. You have to have a little bit of globalism,
I agree. To solve, there's some problems, and I
right?
specifically I point out China. We can't
But
beat nobody can beat China by their own. It has to be all of us.
and you can't worry about anything else globally until you take care of yourself. So that's the nationalism. You got to take care of yourself because you can't help anybody else if you're still hurting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And not to get too far off tangent here, but I think especially throughout history, the United States has kind of been the people who come in and clean things up is kind of how we've liked to sell ourselves. But it's not I don't think it's our responsibility to be the world police,
Nope.
especially when not handling, when it comes to issues that affect the entire world, it should be the entire world coming together, but only in those specific instances. But if it's something inside one sovereign country, kind of like the interstate commerce clause, if it stays within one state, then that state should deal with it. But once it affects one state to another, then then that is a place where a global response is appropriate, but only then. I don't like the idea of global entities going inside a sovereign nation unless there are very clear human right violations.
I was going to say you can't let the genocide happen again. You can't let, you can't
No, I
forget
mean, yes,
why
there
we
we
fought
go.
World War II. You can't forget that. That we can go into a sovereign nation and stop.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's when
That
human rights are
other
being when human
short
rights
of
are being
that,
denied.
correct. Short of that, let them live their lives. Let them govern themselves.
I think it's bullshit that gay people can't get married in the Middle East, but who is Dugan Paxton in Ohio to tell Saudi Arabia how to run their lives?
That's right. That's right. If someone in Saudi Arabia wants to get married to another man, a man wants to get married to him, move. I mean, we can't tell that country what to do. They
And
have their
not
own
not only
rights. No,
can't we shouldn't,
no,
because who
absolutely
who are
not.
we to be the arbiters? And then
Why?
what happens
Exactly.
when it turns around and some global tries to come to the United States and tell us what to
Yeah,
do?
exactly.
Not that we
Exactly.
shouldn't work together on certain, like I said, specifically the China issue. It's impossible. We tried to do we try to take them on individually, and I just don't think that's realistic for a
And China's
variety of
got so
reasons.
much money into so many things, so many places
Their
that
technology infrastructure specifically is
it's
blowing us
gonna
out of the
take
water.
everybody to stand up to that.
One good idea I heard from, once again, I'll plug my man Andrew Yang, a World Data Organization, where, because data is one of the most important commodities. We share all our data together, but then if someone's not playing by the rules, then they start losing access to data, which is which is, since at this point, especially us, we just print currency. Currency is not as valuable as information or data. So just one idea, and obviously, but then there's anyone who's paid attention to the World Health Organization in the past year knows that these things can go horribly wrong very quickly.
And it's ridiculous. I mean, they know where it started. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, why do you believe that it didn't start there? Because they told us that it didn't. Oh, okay.
Well, we asked them, and they seemed to be telling the truth.
Yeah, give me a break, man. Trust but verify. You didn't verify.
Yeah. But then I don't know. That's just it's a tough balancing act, because if China is part of the WHO.
Well, let me ask you a question. This might be something different. How do you feel about masks?
Masks.
Yeah.
I think so. In general, I think people should wear them. It's not hurting anyone. In terms of legal mandates, I think that's more what you're asking.
Well, no, not necessarily that. I mean, I was a medic in the Air Force. We've all been wearing masks for over a year now, right? Everybody's telling us wear masks. The COVID counts have gone up. The COVID counts have gone down. The COVID counts have gone up. The COVID counts have gone down. And we've been wearing masks the whole time. Masks don't seem to matter. And the second thing I feel, well, I'm in Texas. We're wide open. We opened up. Nobody has to wear a mask anywhere they don't want to, unless a business requires of it. And our counts have gone down. I know why I wore a mask when I was in the Air Force. I wore a mask so I didn't get something into the stitches I was stitching you up on. Okay. If you're sick, you wear a mask. Okay. If you're sick, you stay home. Having a mask ain't going to stop me from getting something. Okay. You still have to wash your hands. You still have to do all those things that you already done anyway. Okay. So to me, I think the mask thing, where mandating a mask for something that is 98% survivable is ridiculous. We know who to protect now. At the beginning, we didn't. We know now. Stop the shit. You know what I'm saying? We know to protect the old. We know to protect the vulnerable, the people that are going through cancer, chemo, what have you, have other underlying conditions. We need to protect those people. Vaccinate those people. Get them taken care of. Let everybody else live their life. You're the ones that just said, we shouldn't be able to tell somebody else what to do. Well, who's telling me to wear a mask somewhere when I'm not sick?
Okay. So I will, if I may, I don't believe in the government telling people they have to leave. I don't believe in the mask police arresting you. I think I disagree with you on, I don't see it as a harm, and to a certain extent, I understand what you're saying, where masks aren't 100% effective or in any way, but they're not.
In this whole entire year, I never mandated that you wear a mask in my store.
Sure, and that's
not
fine.
one.
I believe
not one of my employees have gotten it. I haven't gotten.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not the mask police, like you said. You do what you want. If you feel like wearing a mask, wear a mask, dude.
But I don't think it's completely.
But don't tell me to wear one.
I don't think it's completely ineffective.
Well, the respect factor is really what bothers me. When I walk up to someone at a store and someone says, "Wear a mask before you talk to me," and this is some fucking 18-year-old punk.
Oh, well, I mean,
dude, I could have been vaccinated already, and you don't even know that, man.
I don't think that's a mask issue. I think that's just a dickhead issue.
A dickhead issue. Exactly.
So, but something else you pointed out that I did want to touch on. You mentioned how we've been using the masks, and that doesn't seem to be stopping the spread. And one example that I've been bringing up a lot is India. Now, you would think based on density and infrastructure and population, you would think India got its shit rocked by COVID, wouldn't you?
Possibly.
But it didn't. And this is what I'm saying, you hear masks, stay home, stay home, stay home. How many times did you hear a government official use the words vitamin D? or immune system.
Well, they can't control you if they do that.
You know why India didn't get hit hard? Because nobody, perfect time on this, nobody in India smokes cigarettes.
Ah, really?
Well, and being a respiratory disease, well, and they don't eat red meat; they eat a lot of fish there.
So nobody in India smokes cigarettes. Nobody.
Okay, not nobody, but the smoke rate is like per capita, it's nothing compared to the United States. And those are just general, a healthier population. It's less about the masks and more about
don't they got hookah bars in India, man?
Hookah bar. Oh, sure. But you understand the argument I'm making. It was all about masks and staying inside, but it should have been about,
Yeah, that's the government trying to control you. We want control of you. I mean, look at some of the states that aren't even open. Look at where my son lives, North Dakota. They never. I was
arguing with someone.
They never closed. They never closed.
One Dakota. They don't deserve 4 senators. That's bullshit.
But well, then Washington D.C. doesn't deserve to be a state either.
Mm-hmm. That's a valid opinion.
I mean, come on now.
Well, I mean, it's a valid opinion to have. I mean,
especially
I think,
the only reason they want it is to get 2 more. Yeah.
It's so weird because, I don't know.
We have a fence around DC, but we don't have one here in Texas. Come on, man. I don't lock my doors at my house at night because I hate everybody outside my house. I lock my doors at night because I love everybody inside my house. Why is the country any different? Okay. Now, I will say this. I will say this on immigration. Okay. If we would compromise and somebody would finally do some immigration reform. Okay. Do you realize my son-in-law, for example, was 2 years old and his father kidnapped him and took him to Nicaragua, where his father was from. He grew up in Nicaragua and came back here when he was 20 years old to look for his mother. Okay. Found his mother. He's a United States citizen, but he grew up in Nicaragua because his father kidnapped him. He came here. He found a life. He went to school. He became, and he married my daughter. All right. Mm-hmm. This guy has a 22-year-old brother in Nicaragua who was born in Nicaragua, who wants to come to America. And he said, man, don't sneak across the border. It's not as easy, but he's telling you to. Man, I'm thinking about doing it. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. The reason why he wants to do it is because when he went to the U.S. Embassy, they told him, okay, it's going to cost you this much money in 15 years before you become a citizen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Okay? That's ridiculous, man. I'm sorry.
That's what
we are a nation of immigrants. Let's make it easier for them to become immigrants.
Yeah, that's what it pisses me off when they say get in line. The line is too long.
No, the line is bullshit. We should make the line 2 years. Yeah, we can't let everybody in, but we have to a process, and it shouldn't take more than 2 years. Okay, and then you become a citizen of the United States. All right, mm-hmm. and you assimilate to our values just like everybody else did. The hundreds of years we've had this country.
When my people came over during the potato famine.
Thank you. All right. And then, in the same notion that you make it easier for someone to become a legal immigrant to this country, okay?
Well, the citizenship.
You shut the border down, and you say if you snuck in this country, you will never be a citizen. You will never get any benefits, and we will kick you out every time. Don't sneak in. You sneak in, you get thrown out. You can never come back. Mm-hmm. Okay? You want to get in line and go through that 2-year process. If they would do that, that would solve all these problems. Okay. We're seeing these people that have snuck across the border and they're in here working right now because there's certain states and cities that'll give them an ID, that'll give them a government tax number so that they can file their taxes so they can work in this country. Okay. And then they say, hey, man, send my kids up. And they got a coyote bringing these kids across the border, going through God knows what all the way. Because you can't tell me a 9-year-old kid's walking from Guatemala to the United States. And he's walking every day for 8 hours for a month, and he didn't get lost. Somebody's helping those kids get here.
Sure, I agree.
And it's bad.
Yeah, but we have to make. But yeah, I agree with you. We have to make the legal process realistic. Until the legal process is realistic, they will never.
This is always going to be a problem. You're exactly right, and these people know this. You think these people been in government for 47 years don't know this? They know this. And they use it.
Well, let's use computers, man. Let's use computers to if volume is that much of an issue, then maybe we shouldn't be 30 years behind on technology.
It's the greedy that hurt the people. Okay. There's no reason, one, we should have term limits in Congress. Okay. If too much power too long in the White House is a problem, too much power too long in Congress is a problem. Okay. There's no
Absolutely.
reason, you want to explain to me how Joe Biden's a millionaire after 40 years of never having a job and only doing the people's work? Come on, man.
Sure,
You know
sure.
damn well someone, and where
It's
there's
on both
smoke, there's
sides of the
fire,
coin,
dude. You
right?
look at Joe Biden's son and you look at all the crap that's going on with him. Oh my God, if that was Donald Trump Jr., dude, holy crap, it would be a totally different outcome than what's going on right now. He wouldn't be on a fucking book tour, I'll tell you that right now.
We probably agree on a lot of things there, but we probably disagree a little bit on some things there as well. I mean, I think it happens on both sides, and I think you'd agree as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the big example was when these senators, they got the briefings and then they did all that insider trading. I mean, it was
And that's why the Republicans
lawful
lost
on the right,
control.
but
That's
then it
why
was
the
Feinstein
Republicans.
on the left. They always talk about lawful. No one talks about Feinstein.
Oh, well, I tell you who else, the two senators in Georgia, that one female that was running for Senate. She was one of those insider traders too.
Yeah, that was
and it
lawful.
cost her, and it cost her position. And that's why the Republicans lost. I agree. It's on both sides. And that's why we need to weed out the shit and keep the ones that really care, the ones that really care about making a change. Not, I'm here because I want to stay in power and write a book.
Yeah,
I want you to care about me.
Most of them are full of shit, but there are some that even if I don't necessarily agree with their positions, there's about maybe 10 to 15% that are really genuinely trying to do it right.
Oh, and I agree.
90% of them are grifters.
Like AOC. Somebody put her in power, man. They helped her get elected, and this chick has hurt her dang constituents. I mean, it blows me away how someone that stupid could sit in Congress. I'm sorry. And they need to go to the University of Boston and take their accreditation.
We're going to strongly agree to disagree.
Oh, if you think she knows anything about economics,
I think she's intelligent, well-spoken.
No, she is not intelligent. I'm sorry. There's no,
agree to disagree.
Tell me one smart thing this girl's ever come up with. The Green New Deal? Really? Come on, man.
I didn't say it. I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything in front of me right now.
Exactly. Just like everybody else that says she's good. They can't come up with nothing.
All right. Fair enough.
That's what bothers me. I like her. She's cute. She says stuff.
No, it isn't. She seems genuinely.
She's garbage, man. She's garbage.
Okay, well, to me, she comes off as genuine. Maybe I'm a fool. But to me, I think she's naive. Somewhat genuine.
For her to, yeah. Okay.
But right on the other side, on all the way on the other side, I think Rand Paul has genuine desire to help things.
Yeah.
Even though I disagree with him, I'm probably somewhere in between those two, and I probably disagree with them in equal amount about different stuff. But I feel the two of them, I feel like genuinely both of them are trying to, and we'll have to agree to disagree. Maybe AOC wasn't the best. I don't know a ton of senators or whatnot, and unfortunately, most of the Democrats I know are the worst ones. Unfortunately, no one knows the names of the good ones. We only know the shitty ones. So.
Yeah,
it's 90.
If people would really, really look into, a lot of things, they would change their minds on a lot if they really looked at on their own and didn't just take what they saw on TV.
Yeah, I try to do my digging when I can, but then at the same time, there's so much information, and
it's so hard to weed. It's so hard to weed through the shit too. Like you said with the
and then like one place is saying one thing, one place is saying another thing, and it's just yeah. Does hardship make a person stronger? And if so, under what conditions? And at what point is it too much hardship?
Well, I could say from personal experience, everything hard I ever went through has made me a better person. Whether it be the death of my child when I was 20 at Teal, whether it be when I lost both my parents within 103 days, whether it be when I got fired from a radio job because I thought I was so good. There's things you learn from, and at least the smart people do. They'll learn from the things that have brought them down and always look forward, never look back. So I would definitely say that a lot of my hardships have made me stronger in my relationship with my children, my relationship with my wife, my brothers and sisters, and my friends. I mean, again, it's one of those things where
You don't improve without conflict.
ever,
Without conflict, you always stay the same.
yeah.
But I'm just curious, do you think it ever do you think that maybe it ever gets to a point where it is too much and the person, um I don't know, for lack of a better word, too much hardship might break someone, rather than, if you squeeze the coal too hard and you turn it to dust? Or
Yeah, and
do you think if you're strong enough you can really live through anything?
no, everybody needs some help sometime, man. Um, you'd like to think you could do it by yourself, but you're always going to need a cheerleader, man. You're always going to need somebody to lean on, or that'd be a
There's something
friend
nice
or
with us here.
or a
We
coworker.
got about 200 or so brothers we can call at any
Oh,
time.
and I've seen it in action. When a brother would lose their wife or got cancer or got really sick. It's amazing to watch the brothers come along. And that's one of the things I think I value more than anything I went through at Teal is my experience with Sigma Phi Epsilon,
Yeah,
because I've
definitely.
made relationships with people that, even after 30 years, if I didn't even see him, if I walked in a door, we'd talk like it was yesterday.
Well, I mean, look at what
Um,
we met each other, what, one time,
one
what,
time.
six
Yeah.
years ago at the
Yeah.
golf outing or something like
and
that.
it's happened to me here where I'd be at the liquor store and I saw a guy with a Sig Ep ring and I'd be like, hey, HFF, brother. Oh, no way. I mean, you don't even know the guy, but it's like he's your
Yeah,
best friend all of a sudden. So, I
yeah,
mean, it's a really neat experience. And I'm talking dudes that were like in their 60s to dudes that were,
sure.
current freaking members at University of Texas
Yeah,
Tech. So it'd
sure.
be kind of cool that they're like, oh, you should put your letters in the window, man.
And
I
like,
mean,
there's just like, that there's a baseline of certain, like, they got at least the baseline of VDBL.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, and not to get too far down the tangent, but especially the brotherly love aspect, I think is so important. I think, the word toxic masculinity is quite the buzzword these days, but and everyone likes to pin fraternities for being the hub. And I'm not going to, of course, there are some chapters of
Yeah.
some fraternities that are just a bunch of shitheads together.
Yeah.
And I'll say, especially at the small schools like we went to, where you really get to know every single, that is the greatest example of positive masculinity,
Yeah.
because you're right. I mean, you're at your breaking point and you got 40, you know, 20-year-old dudes who are willing and able to be emotionally supportive to another man. And that
And
is
and a thing
wonderful.
on that note, when you're talking about those fraternities that have bad chapters and a group of kids that are just a bunch of shitheads, you have to remember, they're kids. You know,
In some
they
instances, yeah,
they
the
they're
people shouting the N-word, yeah,
no, dude. I agree. You can't be
but
racist. You can't be. But I'm
they're
saying
not done for life. They shouldn't be
no,
done for
man.
life.
No, they should not be. You got to give somebody a chance. Now, a bad person's always going to be a bad person. Okay.
Okay.
A good person's going to come through that and go, man, I shouldn't have done that. That was bad or whatever happened. Um,
But you
you
believe
got to
everyone
remember,
should be
man,
given a chance for redemption.
dude. Yeah, you have to. I mean, everybody, if they show they want the redemption, if you're just
Okay.
going to be the
Well,
same person,
let me
you know,
pop another interesting question on you then. What do you think about felons getting their voting rights back after they serve their sentence?
well, I mean, I don't know. You're going to put a level on felony. Um,
Well, I mean,
I,
just generally, what do you think about the idea?
it depends on the felony. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
If you murdered somebody or something, I don't think you have a right to say anything,
fair enough. But
whether
if it
you
was
got
for
out or
like a,
not. But
but
if
if it
you
was
did
a
a white collar
non-violent
crime
crime,
or you did some fraud and shit and you stole some money when you were a kid, learning how to do computers and you learned how to hack into a bank and stole some money, and that's a felony, and your life should be ruined for something that
you'd say
you're like,
probably in like 90%, other than the most heinous, where, and I think someone put this the
I don't have a
best
problem with
way.
that.
Yeah,
No, I
someone
don't.
put it
In
where,
fact,
like, if you took someone else's right to vote by taking their life, then you don't deserve. But I
yeah,
think,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I definitely agree. Once you've, okay, maybe let's
You
dial it a
served your
bit.
time. You did a felony that didn't murder or rape or do
Sure, yeah,
something
that's what
like
I'm
that.
saying. Heinous ones,
Yeah,
no.
no, never.
But
You're done. But yeah, you made a mistake. After a certain period of time. In fact, in the state of Texas, I couldn't get a liquor license if I had a felony. Okay, and then I found out that if someone had a felony, they could, because I had someone call me, hey, how's this guy own a bar? I know he's got a felony. He got busted for this. So I went and looked into it. If your felony has been adjudicated, for 5 years or more. All right. You're out of jail now for 5 years or more. They let you get a liquor license. So it's starting to happen. At least here in Texas, which is a conservative state, you shouldn't write somebody off forever because they made a mistake.
Yeah, no, I
depending on the mistake. Okay. Killing somebody ain't a mistake. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
raping somebody ain't a mistake. Pedophilia ain't a mistake. So, those things, we got to focus on,
but I'd say like 90%.
I would not have a problem with that. Yeah, I would not have a problem with that. Especially after a period of time where they showed, hey, I'm not that guy anymore.
Well, let me get a bit hotter with you. What do you think about felons having the right to vote while they're in prison?
No, fuck them.
All right.
Sorry.
I mean, that's a valid opinion. I'm going to disagree with you.
No, they're still serving their sentence. Fuck them.
The only thing
they didn't change in jail.
The only reason that I lean towards yes, and I'm not dead set on this one, but I lean towards yes, is because who gets to write the laws? The people in power. What if they write bullshit laws to lock people up and then use locking them up to take away their vote? Like, that's kind of how I look at it. And that's
that's like, again, you're looking at the extreme. Okay.
Maybe.
What are they going to put them in jail for? Disagreeing with them?
Think about
disagreeing with AOC. You're going to put me in jail and then take away my vote. That's not a felony.
No. So think about how many people are in jail for the example of pot. Well, they can't change the pot laws because everyone who supports pot has been arrested and can't vote anymore.
No, as long as it's not a felony. Pot's not a felony, bro.
Oh, okay. Bad example, but okay.
So,
but do you understand the argument I'm making?
Yeah, I still think that's bullshit. If you're in jail, you're serving your sentence. You owe your debt to society. You don't get to vote. You lost that right to vote when you decided to break our laws. Okay. Someone broke in, stole your television set. Okay. And wants to vote because this guy says everybody should have a free TV. I'm going to vote for that guy. That's a dumb argument. And if you're in jail serving your sentence, no, you get out of jail. Whatever you're adjudicated, you served your debt to society. I don't have a problem with somebody making their vote. Change the law then.
Okay. I always try to come down on the sides of not taking rights away unless there's an explicit, the threshold for taking someone's right away should be extremely high. And I just don't believe that, and depending on the crime.
A jury convicting you of a crime that's not extreme, dude. Okay. You broke the law. You're in jail. You don't get to vote. That's period. You don't get to have your kids with you. You don't get to have your mommy with you. I mean, what do you want? We should have McDonald's every month now because I deserve McDonald's just like I deserve to vote.
Well, hold on. We have like a 5th, 6th, and 7th Amendment. I mean, criminals do have rights. You have a right to, you have an 8th Amendment right in prison.
Okay. So I don't want to keep people where they can't eat or sleep or, I don't want to be inhumane to somebody, but they committed a crime. They got to pay their sentence.
Maybe I just feel, I want to make sure to say this the right way. I don't know. You seem to be distinct, they get some rights and not the other. And
well, yeah.
I prefer them to have more rights than less. That's just my opinion. I would prefer people to have more rights than less. And then
I would prefer they not commit the crime in the first place.
Oh, well, sure.
I would, what are you going to say to the victims of those crimes? Like, oh, we're going to let them, have a cell phone in prison. You think they should have a cell phone in prison?
No.
Okay.
But that's not a right. That's not a human right. A cell phone isn't
a human. So voting is a human right?
I think having
it's a right of an American to vote is a right of an American. It's not a human right. You come across the border, you don't get to vote. Okay, unless you're a United States citizen. Okay. Voting is not a human right.
Voting specifically, having input in your government, I think is in your government. So like you said, if someone comes from another country.
As long as you're following the rules of your government, you have the rights. If you don't follow the rules of your government, you don't get the rights, dude. That's how it is. Voting is not a human right. Okay. You don't come from another country and live here illegally and get to vote. I don't care if your kid's going to that school district or not. You don't get a say in what that school district does unless you become a tax-paying citizen of our country.
But they have a right to vote in their country. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, then go.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's fine. But they don't have, when you're in jail, you lost your right to vote until you're adjudicated. That's how I feel it should be.
Well, I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree, and I think it's okay. I think it's okay to agree to disagree. I'm not
Yeah.
making decisions, so you don't have to worry about that anytime soon. But I don't
Well,
know.
you make enough decisions. Did you vote for Biden?
No, I voted for Joe, the other Joe
I got you.
Jorgensen. So I've only been able to vote twice, and both times I voted L.
Oh,
Gary.
okay.
I voted Gary last time, and then Joe this time. So
I got you. So you're a
um,
libertarian. That's cool.
well, I'm an independent. The D and the R are so terrible. The L seems to be not a complete dumpster fire.
Well, grew up Youngstown, Ohio. Parents were Democrats. Very conservative family, very conservative values, just like the Democratic Party seemed to be back then. Moved to Texas and started seeing what some of the liberal things the Democrats were doing, and it just didn't fit what I thought. I don't want government in my life. I don't want you telling me what to do with my business. I don't want you to overtax me for crap that I'm going to pay for this person to not work. Come on, man.
I'm with you.
Obviously, if you're blind or you're disabled or you're mentally incapacitated where you can't work, of course we need to take care of those people. Of course we need to be compassionate and do that. But I shouldn't pay because you just don't feel like working. And I got to pay into that pot and let you get some of that money. That doesn't seem fair. That's just yeah. I'm sure you heard the story of the professor that graded on a curve and told everybody they were going to grade on a curve, so nobody studied and everybody got a D, and they were all pissed.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same thing with what would happen if we had a universal income where you just got paid just to live. Oh, cool! I could live. I don't have to work. That gets rid of the motivation. That stops innovation. That stops so many things. Stops a kid from becoming Prince or a kid from becoming president of the United States because they don't really have to try and make it. This is comfortable. Make it uncomfortable. Life isn't comfortable. Okay. Make it uncomfortable. You become a better person when it's uncomfortable. All right. Life isn't fair, man. Sometimes you do everything the right way and you still get shit on. You got to keep moving. You got to keep moving forward. That's where the karma comes in. That's going to come back on you later in life, and it's happened to me. I've seen it happen. So I just keep being nice and hope that it goes on. Treat people the way you want to be treated and you should be fine.
Yeah, I mean that's all very well spoken. So all right, man. I think we're gonna wrap up soon. I need to finish up. I've had a great time. I hope
It was
we
good
didn't
talking to you, man.
I didn't we didn't get too spicy in the politics, did we?
No, it's
I
good,
know
man.
I know
I
that you
like
feel
it.
very strongly about things, and
Passion is good.
I
Passion is
feel very
always
strong.
good.
I knew we would disagree on things, but I'm glad we did it in such a
Well, dude,
strong way.
just because you're still red, white, and blue, right?
I wouldn't have gone there with someone if I knew it was gonna get like hot or anything.
Nah, cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, all the links of stuff we talked about is going to be down in the description. Make sure if you ever are anywhere in Texas, make sure you get some Big Johnson in your mouth. Um, JJ, less vibes. What do you want to put out to the people?
Hey, man, we're all on the same team. Everybody be happy. HFF.
All right. Thank you so much, man. Make sure to keep listening, and we will see you again soon.